swearing in of parties for the planning and zoning and or quasi-judicial items will be explained by the city clerk. The members of the City Commission appearing for this meeting are Alex Diaz de la Portilla, Joe Carollo, Manolo Reyes, Jeffrey Watson, and me, Ken Russell. Also appearing are City Manager Art Noriega, City Attorney Victoria Mendez, and City Clerk Todd Hannon. Mr. Min, would you please state the procedures to be followed during this meeting?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Any person who is a lobbyist pursuant to Chapter 2, Article 6 of the City Code must register with the City Clerk and comply with related city requirements for lobbyists before appearing before the City Commission. A person may not lobby a city official, board member, or staff member until registering. A copy of the code section about lobbyists is available in the City Clerk's office or online at municode.com. Any person making a presentation, formal request, or petition to the City Commission concerning real property must make the disclosures required by the City Code in writing. A copy of the City Code section is available at the office of the City Clerk or online at municode.com. The City of Miami requires that anyone requesting action by the City Commission must disclose before the hearing any consideration provided or committed to anyone for agreement to support or withhold objection to the requested action pursuant to Section 2-8 of the City Code. Any documents offered to the City Commissioners that have not been provided 7 days before the meeting as part of the agenda materials will be entered into the record at the City Commission's discretion. If any Commissioner thinks the documents supplied to the Commission fewer than 7 days before merit a continuance, the item may be continued by the City Commission. Pursuant to Sections 2-33F and G of the City Code, the agenda and the material for each item on the agenda is available during business hours in the City Clerk's office online 24 hours a day at miamigov.com. Any person may be heard by the City Commission through the chair for not more than 2 minutes on any proposition before the City Commission unless modified by the chair. Public comment will begin at approximately 9 a.m. and remain open until public comment is closed by the chairperson. Members of the public wishing to address the body may do so by submitting written comments via the online comment form. Please visit miamigov.com for detailed instructions on how to provide public comment using the online comment form. The comments submitted through the comment form have been and will be distributed to the elected officials and city's administration throughout the day so that the elected officials can consider the comments prior to taking any action. Additionally, the online comment form will remain open during the meeting to accept comments and distribute to the elected officials up until the time the chairperson closes public comment. Public comment may also be provided live at City Hall, located at 3500 Pan American Drive, Miami, Florida, subject to any and all city rules, as they may be amended. If the proposition be continued to reschedule, the opportunity to be heard may be at such later date before the City Commission takes action on such proposition. When addressing the City Commission, the member of the public must first state his or her name, his or her address, and what item will be spoken about. Any person with a disability requiring assistance, auxiliary aids, and services for this meeting may notify the City Clerk. The City has provided different public comment methods to indicate, among other things, the public support, opposition, or neutrality on the items and topics to be discussed at today's City Commission meeting, pursuant to Section 286.0114, Subsection 4, Subsection C of Florida statutes. The public has been given the opportunity to provide public comment during the meeting within reasonable proximity and time before the meeting. Please note, Commissioners have generally been briefed by City staff and the City Attorney on items on the agenda today. Anyone wishing to appeal any decision made by the City Commission for any matter considered at this meeting may need a verbatim record of the item. A video of this meeting may be requested at the Office of Communications or viewed online at miamigov.com. Planning and zoning items shall proceed according to Section 7.1.4 of the Miami 21 Zoning Code as temporarily modified pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Numbers 13903 and 13914. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903 and 13914, parties for any planning and zoning items, including any applicants, appellants, appellee, city staff, and any person recognized by the decision-making body as a qualified intervener, as well as the applicant's representatives and experts testifying on behalf of the applicant, appellant, or appellee, may either be physically present at City Hall to be sworn in by oath or affirmation by the City Clerk, or may appear virtually and make arrangements to be sworn in by oath or affirmation in person at their location by an individual qualified to perform such duty. Pursuant to Emergency Ordinance Number 13903, members of the general public who are not parties to an action pending before the City Commission are not required to be sworn in by oath or affirmation. The members of the City Commission shall disclose any ex parte communications to remove the presumption of prejudice pursuant to Section 286.014 of Florida statutes and Section 7.1.4.5 of the Miami 21 Zoning Code. Staff will briefly present each item to be heard. For applications requiring City Commission approval, the applicant will present its application and request to the City Commission. If the applicant agrees with the staff's recommendation, the City Commission may proceed to its deliberation and decision. The applicant may also waive the right to an evidentiary hearing on the record. The order of presentation shall be as set forth in Miami 21 in the City Code, providing that the appellant shall present first. For appeals, the appellant will present its appeal to the City Commission, followed by the appellee. Staff will be allowed to make any recommendation they may have. Please silence all cell phones and other noise-making devices. This meeting can be viewed live on Miami TV at miamigov.com, the city's Facebook page, the city's Twitter page, the city's YouTube channel, and Comcast Channel 77. The broadcast will also have closed captioning. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Clerk.
Thank you, Chair. The procedures for individuals who provide testimony is sworn in for planning and zoning items and any quasi-judicial items on today's City Commission agenda will be as follows. The members of City staff or any other individuals required to be sworn in who are currently present at City Hall will be sworn in by me, the City Clerk, immediately after I finish explaining these procedures. Those individuals who are appearing remotely may be sworn in now or at any time prior to the individual providing testimony for planning and zoning items and or quasi-judicial items. Pursuant to emergency ordinance number 13903, those individuals appearing remotely may be sworn in at their location by an individual qualified to administer the oath. After you are sworn in, please be sure to complete, sign, and notarize the affidavit provided to you by the City Attorney's Office. Each individual who will provide testimony must be sworn in and execute an affidavit. Please email a scanned version of the signed affidavit to the City Clerk at thannon@miamigov.com prior to providing testimony on the planning and zoning item and or quasi-judicial item. The affidavit shall be included in the record for the relevant item for which you will be providing testimony. Chair, are you comfortable with all the notice provisions set forth in these uniform rules and procedures we have established for this meeting?
Yes, I am.
Chair may proceed with administering the oath.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. If we'll be speaking on any of today's planning and zoning items, may I please have you stand and raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to give at today's meeting is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And your response is? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. I hope everyone's having a great day. Thank you for coming out. We're going to start with our presentations and proclamations. We have 8 proclamations by mayor. If his representative is here, we can go ahead and get started. Good morning, Mr. Leal. The floor is yours. Fire hazard.
Good morning, City Manager. Buenos días, comisionado.
Buenos días, mi querido amigo.
Todo verte, usa la corbata esa.
Viste.
If I can ask our Director of Parks to join us up here, please. Thank you. Danny as well, please. Is that Nadia? Please. Perfect. Let me any particular yes. Let me do a brief introduction to today's protocol items. I think everybody enjoys the beach, everybody enjoys the water, and we want to particularly recognize some excellent individuals that for this past summer dedicated their time with no compensation to help and facilitate our students and our kids to have one of the key life safety mechanisms, which is to learn how to swim. That we sometimes take for granted, but it is something that you have to learn, and you have people that are trained to make sure that if there's any emergency, they can take care, and teach is very key essential component. So I wanted to, with everybody's indulgence, we have a little video. Actually, it's, I think, playing right now. I believe there's no soundtrack on it, but Remind me, where does this take place? And it takes place at Charles Hartley Park. And they're there for how many weeks?
7 weeks. 7-week
weeks.
program.
A 7-week program. Yeah, of course. Yes, please.
Good morning. We in the Parks Department, this is what we do. We teach, well, we do many things, but our core program is Learn to Swim. It's water safety, saving lives. And when the PFA was introduced to us, it was like a no-brainer. A lot of partners always want something in return. PFA just wanted to come in, do what they do best, which was actually enhance our Learn to Swim program and really give our Learn to Swim, our summer camp participants, the best experience they could get. So to us, it was a yes, welcome, let's do the best we can. And we taught over 485 kids this year due to COVID. It was a smaller number, but 485 children from the Liberty City area were able to take a 7-week Learn to Swim program, water safety program, that also included additional components like CPR, first aid, and other life-saving measures. And we're extremely proud and very thankful to the PFA, to the Children's Trust, the Miami Dolphins, and all of our partners.
Thank you.
Just real quick, Danny Lopez has been with the city for how long? 14 and a half years, and he oversees all the aquatic programs. So I wanted to thank him for taking the initiative and working with the Progressive Firefighters Association. One last comment is that these individuals volunteer their time out there. So that's really important to say because they're giving their time to make sure that they can, it's a full circle. So they were, one way or another, they're part of this program, they grew up in this system, and then they came back to return the favor or some sort of system. And they're helping the community out there by teaching these kids how to swim and prevent drowning. So we want to just thank you from the bottom of our hearts, from the city of Miami, for doing this and volunteering your time.
In no particular order, I'm going to call them out. If you please can join us up here so you can receive your protocol item and maybe take a picture or two. Miami-Dade County Firefighter Progressive Firefighter Association Fire Captain Keith Bell. Thank you. Miami-Dade County Retired Fire Captain Jerome Bird, Sr. If you can join us over here, you can join us here. Please. The Children's Trust Community Engagement Manager Andre Adams. Miami Dolphins player Solomon Kinley and Solomon Kinley Foundation. Thank you. Miami Dolphins Senior VP of Communications and Community Affairs, Jason Jenkins. Elite Loyalty Sports agents, Tony Scott. And I believe current president of the City of Miami Progressive Firefighters Association, Lieutenant Darren Davis. Please join us. Thank you. If I can ask for a round of applause. No, this is for the next. Okay. Now my time to have some. Between you guys. Thank you guys. Thank you. following with the theme of lifeguard, safety, and ocean rescue, we also wanted today to take an opportunity at this commission meeting to recognize some of our City of Miami employees that are working in the Ocean Rescue Department, particularly the ones that had to save either neighbors, residents, or even tourists. And allow, if I can ask for the following individuals to join us. Ocean Rescue Lifeguard Shane Sutton and Ocean Rescue Lifeguard Lucas Valli, and Ocean Rescue Lifeguard Amanda Dominguez, Ocean Rescue Lifeguard Eduardo Curbelo, and last but not least, the Senior Ocean Rescue Lifeguard Marcos Fernandez Rivera. If I can ask for a thank you. Morning. Thank you. Thank you. Morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us. I like those shirts. Thank you. So the following individuals had a number of several medical emergencies throughout the summer, all with positive outcomes. And I think one of the ones that we might have heard of, and it was on the news, was an emergency aircraft landing on the water that both Amanda Dominguez and Eduardo Curbelo were involved. When I read this and I spoke to their immediate supervisor and their senior supervisor, I was thinking, how traumatic does one have to feel when you're in the water? And I just ask all of you to kind of put yourself in those shoes for a moment where you don't really know if you're going to make it, and then you have one of these fine gentlemen come and save you. So I was putting myself or thinking about my family if that were to happen. You guys have a lot of responsibility, just like our fire chief, just like our police departments, that you are the example of helping your neighbor. And I thank you for that. And you should always take that responsibility not lightly, because you're really coming to save someone. So thank you. Thank you. Okay. Actually, anything to add?
No, you did great.
Okay. Yes, we are now. Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you for the job you do at Shenandoah.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by the prayer with Commissioner Reyes.
Hello? Is this on?
pledge
Is
allegiance
of
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please bow your heads. Stand up. Let us ask the Lord for its blessing and also to help us, those of us that have to make decision, to make the right decision, make the just decision. Try by all means to do what he taught us to do, which is to serve those that need it the most, and to serve our people, which is the Lord's people. Please, Lord, guide us and enlighten us. Amen.
Amen. You can be seated. Thank you. All right, we are short one member for quorum, and we've conducted all the business we can without a quorum at this point. So we will pause until we have a third.
Okay.
But don't go anywhere because I need you.
You need me?
You're number 2. I apologize. We have one more protocol item. Commissioner Watson, you have the floor.
Commissioner Watson has one more protocol item and one more teaching moment for kids who were here before I was this morning. And what I wanted them to know is not be late. And what did I do? So I took my tardy slip and came in the back, right? Here's what I can say from my colleagues, all of them, all 5 of us, they're here, and the big one upstairs. We can't all say in this position, in these positions we hold, that we will ever see 98. But when you do see 98, it should be something that should be celebrated. And so, to the godmother of the city, to the godmother of Hadley Park, Manor Park, and whatever names it has been given to it during the course of the time I grew up there. On Monday, this past, Miss Nancy Dawkins turned 98. And because I know the rough and tumble world that we live in, that's special. That will always be special as far as we're concerned. And so I'll help her up, but I do want to read. Nancy Sidney Dawkins was born on October 11th, 1923, and raised in Dania Beach, Florida. After receiving her master's degree from Indiana University, she moved to Miami and became an educator. Her first job was teaching at Liberty City Elementary, and she grew fondness for helping the community. The Liberty City pioneer worked within Miami-Dade schools for 35 years. Once retired, she turned to community activism, engaging Girl Scouts, serving health insurance needs of elders, crime watch captain for a neighborhood, member of Mount Zion AME Church in Dania Beach, amplifying the voice of the senior community, and so much more. Receiving unconditional support from her husband, the late Miller Dawkins, Carrie P. Meek Senior Center at Hadley Park, along with other community leaders, speaking out at commission meetings, getting the center built where hundreds of seniors gather around, enjoying the many amenities the building offers, such as recreational activities, water aquatics, and a full-service gym. Married for 62 years, Miss Dawkins is the widow of former Miami City Commissioner Miller Dawkins, who had one son, Myron Dawkins, deceased. She is a proud grandmother of 2 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren, being a local voice when faced with resistance with pure determination, overcoming many obstacles placed in front of her. Signed by me, it will ultimately be signed by, hopefully, the mayor and my other colleagues. And so now, for most of you who don't think she's here, she is. For most of you who have never seen her, she's going to come up and take a picture with us. She's been an inspiration. For me, for many years. When I didn't understand, I could go to her. When it didn't make sense, I could ask her. And that building that she changed was a little raggedy building many years ago before it became something different. So, in her pretty red suit, I will present to those who don't know and to those who do know, Miss Nancy Dawkins.
You never been short of words.
I just want to say thanks to the honorable commissioners. And I don't know where Commissioner Carollo is. I know him too. And I know the mayor, Francis Suarez. And to all of you, I wish you Godspeed. I am 98 years old. And I enjoyed my life. And I continue to enjoy life. And to Manola Reyes, Honorable Manola Reyes. I've been knowing him a long time.
Long time.
And I pray Godspeed for all of you. And I hope longevity will be for you as the God above has blessed me. And I'm asking to bless all of you. And this is my prayer for you. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Ms. Duckett, I only have one question. Give us the secret. What do you drink? What do you eat? So we can get to be 98 like you. And I know that we're going to be celebrating in a couple of years your 100th. I promise you we're going to be here.
I thank you for that prediction, but you don't give the shots. Someone above gives the shots.
You got it? If you indulge me 2 minutes and I can have the kids come up for a second. Come, guys. While they're coming, and they'll tell you, one of them will say to you who they are. I'll let them do that. I am going to do something. Come, and everybody line up. Come, everybody line up. Come, so everybody can see from Care Elementary. I'm going to read at some point during the course of this day. I'm going to break and read to them something. Go down there, baby, so we can get everybody here. Care Elementary is the first over the course of the next, during the next ensuing days. Right? So Care Elementary is in my district. I went over and read to them. I asked them to come down to see what we do, because most will probably not see that until at some point in time when it may or may not count. Their fearless leader, I understand, is one of the best. And so along with Care and other kids in my district, they will come down to see an art installation that I have in my office. And the art installation is a sculpture of Muhammad Ali. Muhammad Ali listing 2. It's something to be said about that at some point in time a little bit later. But I wanted Care to come down since I read. They asked me to come over and read to them 2 weeks ago, and I did. And I felt like they needed to understand what we did. And so I asked them to come down, and they did. And we're going to take a quick picture, and then they'll go back to their seats and have refreshments. And at some point, I'll duck out and get a chance to read to them. So I present to you Care Elementary. You got us? You want to take the picture? Yeah. We're going to squeeze in a little bit. Should we stand up and around? Got it? Go back. You got it? A little bit tighter. Is that for the big people? Is this for the big people and the little people? Should people like me turn sideways? Amen. So hold tight, kids, hold tight. So this is the 4th grade class of Care. Yesterday, I was supposed to be on a Zoom where they had a prayer with the mayor. And, of course, somebody sent me a dead link, so I couldn't get in. But I'm going to pass the mic right quick to the leader. She can tell us briefly about Care. Oh, okay. She is out. But leaders nevertheless. Please.
Well, we just want to say thank you, Commissioner Watson, for this opportunity. He's an engaging storyteller, but what you probably don't know is he got some dance moves, too. He was grooving over there with the school and the kids. Did you guys love him when you came to see you? Yes, right? Care Elementary School is a private school in the heart of Overtown, Miami, and we pride ourselves on high-quality education in a loving, nurturing Christian environment. So this, what you see right here, is inspiring our kids to be the future leaders of tomorrow, amen? And with God's help, we will continue to push forward. CARE stands for, remember, the Christian Academy for Reaching Excellence. Our fearless leader is the president of our board of directors and the school, Miss Marty Steinberger. This is their amazing 4th grade teacher, Miss Giselle Munoz. Come on, give it up for her. Teacher's assistant, Miss Sasha Rondon. And I serve as the school principal, Mr. Christopher Simmons. Thank you, Commissioner Watson, again.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Thank you. We're good. Okay. All right, guys. If you go back over there, and I'll see you in a second, okay? All right, cool. Thank you, man. Appreciate it. All right, good. Yes, my colleague used to be a teacher. Thank you. I appreciate everybody indulging in time.
All right, everyone. We have a busy day ahead. We have a full agenda this morning, including the planning and zoning agenda and the city's business, which I hope to conclude all of which before 1 p.m., as we have a special meeting this afternoon, which is a hearing regarding the police chief. So I would like to conclude all of our business this morning, and what we don't conclude, I'll be asking to defer and table. So efficiency is of the utmost. Mr. Manager, if you can help us with the order of the day, any items that you'd like to see withdrawn, deferred, or continued from the regular agenda.
Good morning, Mr. Vice Chair, Commissioners, Madam City Attorney, or Mr. City Attorney, Mr. City Clerk. At this time, the administration would like to defer and or withdraw the following items. PH1 to be deferred to the October 28th meeting. FR2 to be withdrawn. And that concludes the items from the administration.
I'll ask him.
Can you hit me again right quick?
Commissioners, are there any items you'd like to see?
Can I get Mr. Manager right quick again, please?
I'll repeat. So the PH1 to be deferred to the October 28th meeting, and FR2 to be withdrawn.
Wow.
Yes, you're recognized.
Yes, I would like to indefinite defer PC2 until I have a time to sit with staff and see if we can solve some of my concerns. I think that I'm very concerned about the neighborhoods, how this is going to affect the neighborhoods, and we have to, me personally, I think that we have to do everything that is on our power to protect our neighborhoods. The neighbors are before any development. So I want to defer it, and I will work with staff and see how we can better this up.
Thank you. Commissioner, you're killing me. We want to get affordable housing done. We both do. I know you do as well. And I understand your concerns for single-family neighborhoods. I'd like to come to whatever this consensus is that we need to reach. I understand an indefinite deferral would be 6 months or earlier, if you can find a comfort zone. Yes. I know the administration has worked hard on this. My question to the administration, and particularly the planning department, are there any projects in the pipeline that are currently awaiting this potential amendment? And what's the timeliness of this?
Good morning, Cesar Garcia Ponce, Planning Department. Of course, there always are. I know of two, some of which have been before this commission recently. The one on 20th Street, the Rainbow Village project, as well as a couple in Coconut Grove that are waiting to get this passed. And again, we're happy to work with the commissioners to see if we can get the language to allow that to happen. But there are always projects, right, that are waiting for this to be attainable.
Yes, sir.
If it is an advocate for affordable housing, it is me. And I've been fighting for real affordable housing since the first day that I got sworn in. But I want real affordable housing. But we cannot have affordable housing at the expense of destroying our neighborhood. They're not mutually exclusive. We gotta protect our neighborhoods, and we have to provide for affordable housing. And that's what I want to do. I mean, we shouldn't bow to developers and allow them to, write our ordinances. Okay? And I don't agree with that. So I am going to be fighting for affordable housing. I'm going to be, as a matter of fact, we are in the process of starting six family homes, that houses that are going to be built for first-time buyers. We purchased a tract of land where we can build 38 units. I know about affordable housing, but as I said before, real affordable housing, and also we don't want to be encroaching in the single-family homes, and we don't want to be destroying our neighborhoods. They are sacred. We have to provide that. I mean, the best, I will say, legislation that could take care of affordable housing and at the same time helps our neighborhood and protect our single-family homes. And that's what I want to reach an agreement with this guy.
And let me just say,
Commissioner
Mr.
Watson,
Chair,
you recognize.
yeah, let me just say right quick, because of our code, there's going to come a time where we're going to be more involved in the transaction than we even realize, right? And I think it's great to change categories, but I think our folks have to be in that discussion in the development of affordable housing, not just the for-profit dynamics, but changing categories doesn't necessarily give you an incentive to build.
Yes.
And so where we get trapped is because we're a low-wage earning city, and they're getting money from who sets the parameters, which has higher wages, right? The federal and then the state make them use a higher number for AMI. And so my concern is if you don't talk to our folks who are dealing with those rules and regulations, then we're not going to be able to accomplish what we're trying to accomplish. And just changing the categories is not going to do that. So in conjunction with this should be what's happening when we get our report back from Miami 21 on how things are happening in the neighborhoods so that we can truly do that. Otherwise we would have had this forever bond money that's been sitting in one way used right? Because the dynamics are changing, and so we have to take into account. I understand what planning is coming forth with, but I want Mensa in that conversation. I want folks in that conversation that have to now deal with what we do, that we're not taking into consideration their voice, and then we're not going to be successful at what we're trying to get done, which is truly affordable housing, whatever that means, because the state uses the county AMI, except we're like 30, 40% lower than that. So how do we then get to where we're going to get to without having our guys? We have to look at that involving the conversation. So I think that's what I like time to see happen. That's my deal.
Understood. I think there's just a need in my district that I'm trying to encourage, and there's a concern in Commissioner Reyes' district that he's trying to protect. So we're trying to find how we get past that, and I think we will. I'm open to the indefinite deferral. We'll work on it.
I'm also protecting your district, single-family homes.
Well, let's not have
Commissioner,
indefinite.
the way my district has been zoned to its own detriment,
Well-
there is no buffer zone, and so the main corridors where there is T5, they need this density.
Okay,
and so
but-
through an
but-
exception process, we can mitigate the impact on single-family, but certainly I'm not trying to encroach into single-family neighborhoods. I'm not trying to damage single-family neighborhoods,
Okay,
but we need the density where the main arteries are.
We need to also analyze what are the consequences of what our decisions are. Because we come here, I mean, I don't know if it is because of my discipline, but every time that I do an economic analysis, or I did, you see, you do like a cost-benefit analysis. You do the benefits and also what are the costs, how much is this going to affect, you see, or 16 businesses, or whatever it is. But we have to really analyze what it is, the effect of whatever decision we make here. And having said that, let's go for 6 months.
We'll table it. It's listed for indefinite deferral. Are there other items that commissioners would like to see withdrawn, deferred, or continued?
So did we answer the question that if something's on the table, they will come forth and have an analysis and still be able to do it as we look at this umbrella? We did not.
They until this ordinance passes, affordable housing will not be able to reach their double density targets if they abut T3, even with an exception process. There is no process unless a one-off is given a zoning amendment for one particular project, but that's not what we're trying to achieve here. We're trying to achieve a process citywide that will allow it, but only by each case coming to us, so that the commissioner of that district can make sure that all steps have been taken to see if it's appropriate or not. And it's a high bar. But I get it. We're not ready yet.
No, but I guess I just wanted to say to my colleague, in deference to really a serious issue on affordable housing, since this started now, no action taken way back April of 19, let's not make it indefinite. Let's force the issue.
Well, we can bring it back any time before then.
Okay, all right.
But yes, Rainbow Village will not happen until this passes.
Okay, all right.
If I want to be clear about it. And several projects in my district as well. So we'll keep working on it, and I definitely want to respect my colleagues.
We will find a happy medium.
All right. Okay. Are there any other items that commissioners would like to see withdrawn, deferred, or continued? You'd like to be recognized, Ms. Escara.
Good morning, Commissioners. Iris Escara with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue. I'm requesting to PZ1 to be deferred until January. The client's been working on refining the application and providing information. He has not completed the site plan and so forth. So we're asking for it to be deferred to a date certain, January 27th, which is the second meeting in January.
Is there a commissioner that would like to grant that deferral? Till January, what was the date, please?
27th, I believe, is the second meeting in January.
All right, we'll add that to the list.
Thank you.
Are there any pocket items that commissioners would like to see added to the agenda before we vote?
So I have.
D5, we'll call this PI1. This is a noise waiver for 2217 Northwest 5th Avenue.
Yes, sir.
I have a copy of it in front of me. From October 22nd through October 23rd, 2021.
Yes.
Got it. We will add that D5 pocket item as PI1 noise waiver for 2217 Northwest 5th Ave. Are there any other pocket items that commissioners would like to add?
There's not, Chair, but I would like, when you can allow me to address the timing for today's meeting.
Yes, let's take a vote on the order of the day. Is there a motion for the order of the day?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by the chair. Is there any further discussion?
Chair, my apologies. I need to read a statement into the record for item PC2. Pursuant to Section 62-22 of the City Code, an indefinitely deferred action initiated by the city will cost the city mail noticing, advertising, and posting of properties as applicable.
Thank you. For my part, the withdrawal of FR2, the amendment to Chapter 36 noise, this amendment isn't accomplishing what I was hoping it would accomplish. It targeted good neighbors, such as Bayside, which has come into compliance over the last few years, and as we've not received complaints in my office, but this ordinance would expose them. And it does not hold those accountable. We're trying to hold accountable, which is Jungle Island, due to their lease having very specific language allowing noise. So I'm going to withdraw this on the condition that we start working as an administration with Jungle Island, because if we can't bring this noise issue under control, I'm going to be asking for an amendment to their lease. I know they can do it, but having an outdoor nightclub on the water right next to residential towers is definitely causing an issue. But I recognize that this ordinance won't achieve what I'm trying to reach. So I want to thank Bayside. I know you're here today, and this has been a concern for you, and I appreciate you being a good neighbor to downtown. So thank you. So I'm withdrawing FR2. Is there any further discussion on the order of the day?
Yes, Mr. Chair. Right quick, I've had a number of conversations, and I know my colleague is interested in this quickly being resolved. On SR, there's a request to have a conversation among a number of parties to help strengthen and help our encampment and I'd like to see it roll over to at least the next meeting, if possible.
So a continuance?
Yes, to the next meeting.
So continuance on SR2, Mr. Clerk?
Yes, sir. And that will be to the October 28th meeting.
Does
Yes.
the mover accept the amendment? Yes, seconder does as well.
Thank you.
Any further discussion on the order of the day? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes. We have an agenda. Just a moment, Mr. Commissioner Carollo. Just let me get through the... Do we have any mayoral vetoes?
Chair, there are no mayoral vetoes.
And no minutes for approval?
No, sir.
All right, thank you. Commissioner Carollo, you're recognized.
Thank you, Chairman. Chairman, I need to be out of the building sometime after 12. I have a family matter that I have to attend to. So if you could let me know at what time we would break so that I could have at least an hour to take care of that.
Thank you, sir. My goal is to have the entire morning's agenda done by noon, and anything we don't have done by noon to defer to a next meeting, so that we have the entire afternoon for the hearing.
Okay, that's very good. The other thing that I wanted to bring out is the fact that for the meeting this afternoon that begins at 3, I am more than willing to be here until midnight, maybe even a little after midnight. I think that we definitely have an obligation to give Mr. Acevedo and his attorneys sufficient time and due process to present anything they want to in addressing us. But what I want to be very clear from the onset is that this is not going to be a free-for-all where they're going to want to extend this for days and days. We have a very clear directive from the city charter that hearings such as these, we must begin and finish within 5 days after notice has been given. The city attorney might disagree with me, but I'm of the opinion that notice was given on Monday. Therefore, the end of the 5th day would be at midnight Friday. This is the 4th day. But that's my opinion anyway on the count. I'd rather be safer on the count than being told later on and going to court to say that we have waived our rights because we did not give the hearing within the requirement of our charter.
Thank you, Commissioner. I agree with you, and at 3 o'clock, I'll go through my proposed procedures for how the afternoon should go, and I believe we'll be done within the day. So with that being said, we'll begin public comment for anything on this morning's agenda. So public comment will be reserved to this morning's agenda, including the planning and zoning items, but will not include this afternoon's hearing, which is a complete different subject. So if you're here to speak on the issue with the chief or whatever, that is not happening this morning. Right now, we're just taking up the items on this agenda. Please approach the lecterns if you'd like to speak on any of this morning's items. All you have to do is state your name, which item you're speaking on, and you'll have 2 minutes to speak. When you hear a beep, that means 30 seconds are left in your 2 minutes, and for everyone's time, please start wrapping it up at that point. Good morning, Mr. Pathman.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and Commissioners. I'm here on item PH2. I just first would like to say I'd like to thank Commissioner Carollo and the rest of the commissioners for the last meeting, giving us the opportunity to work out the issue concerning the FP&L easement over at Grove Harbor between Grove Bay. Within less than an hour, with staff's help, we were able to do that. And I'm just here to make a record that the easement that is attached and represented as part of your agenda today, an exhibit that was prepared by Vera and Associates, is now where the FP&L easement will be. Also that the 2017 easement should be terminated or extinguished. And we'd like to work with staff that hopefully we can get those things memorialized before the end of the year by December 31st, because we'd like to submit plans for the development of the area that we talked about last time. And I think that I know there's a representative here from Grove Bay. I think they're in agreement with us. And like I said, it was a very simple solution, and we resolved it with staff's help in less than an hour.
Would you like to speak as well, representative of the other side? Please approach the other lectern. And Mr. Manager, I might need you or staff to address this request regarding Grove Bay and Grove Harbor.
Yes, good
You're
morning.
recognized.
Jeffrey Bass, 46 Southwest 1st Street, representing Grove Bay. Nice to see you all again. And thank you. Yes, the easement that we've proffered resolves, I believe, the objection by Grove Harbor. I'd like to be clear that we eliminated a part of what was previously proposed and designed to feed the fine dining. We're going to have to come back at some point to work that out, but we believe we've solved the present acute issue, and we thank you for the opportunity to do it.
Thank you. Thanks for working out. Mr. Pathman, do you need any information from the administration with regard to what you said?
Again, we just want to confirm that we are in agreement as to the easement that's part of your package today, and that is where the new FP&L easement will be placed, and also the extinguishment of the 2017 FP&L easement. And I think staff is in agreement with that. We had that discussion over a week ago. And again, we'd like to memorialize it before December 31st of this year.
Good morning, Mr. Hikwaba. Mr. Pathman's just looking for confirmation that what's in the agenda as proffered in the agreement between the two parties is acceptable by the administration, and the deadline that you're looking for, Mr. Pathman? There was an agreed
By
deadline?
December 31st
To do
of this year.
exactly.
We want to memorialize that the parties are in agreement that this is the new FP&L easement and the old one is
Extinguish the old easement.
the old one is extinguished.
So, good morning, Mr. Chair. The administration would like to take a moment to review the legal description that has just been provided. At this time, we don't have any comments, and we would like to provide that at some point during the day.
Got it.
What I just handed the assistant city manager is already part of the record. It's, I believe the clerk will confirm that. So it is what the parties and the city have already agreed to.
If it's memorialized and it's what we vote on, it's what's going to happen.
Right?
You want to comment on that? Yeah, step up.
Good morning, Commissioners. Suzanne Hollander, Director of DREAM, Department of Real Estate and Asset Management. We worked with both Grove Bay and Grove Harbor to come to this resolution that they both agreed to. The easement is revised as it is in your packets, and we worked on the revision to the packet.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Okay, that's it. Thank you very much.
Thanks.
Thank you. Next public comment, please. Ms. Snyder, how are you? Just a moment, please.
Good morning. My name is...
Just a moment, please. I'm sorry, the commissioner wanted to address the last
I
item.
just wanted to say that I'm glad that this got resolved. These are two very important leaseholders for the city of Miami. One that's an established one, a successful established one for the city, and one that it's getting started that is extremely important for the city. So I hope now that this project can go forward as quickly as it can because the city of Miami residents are losing dollars every day that it's not built out completely. So thank you, both parties, for getting together and being reasonable individuals and working this out between yourselves. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. Agreed.
Mr.
Snyder,
Chair? Mr. Chair?
Mr. Ikwaba.
The administration would like to be given us some moments, maybe in another hour, for us to take a look at this easement to make sure it's consistent with what was negotiated.
Is there something been entered that's different than what's in the item this morning?
It's my understanding that this is different from what we had included in the agenda package. So we want to make a confirmation first before you vote on it. So if you can table it for maybe 1 hour, we'll appreciate it.
That's
Chair,
PH2. Mr. Clerk.
Mr. Manager, there was an email sent with dated October 12th, a memo from the manager indicating that attached, please find updated legislation containing highlighted changes amended specific terms agreed upon by Grove Bay Investment Group, LLC, and Grove Harbor Marina and Caribbean Marketplace, LLC. Also attached, please find a revised Exhibit A, sketch and legal replacing initial Exhibit A, and the harbor proposed drawing submitted on 9/23/2021. This email was sent out on October 12, 2021 at 5:01 p.m.
And that's a substitution request?
Yes.
And was that substitution memorialized in our record for what we have before us?
This is what I have here. It matches what Mr. Pathman was showing me.
And no, my question is, does that match what's in our backup for the item we're voting on today?
Well, it's going to be a substitute. So that was emailed to you on October 12th containing the substitute
Got it. So
exhibit and legislation.
Understood. So Mr. Hikwaba just wants an hour to review whether or not the city is willing to accept that substitution and add it to the record?
No, Mr. Chair, I've just been reminded that what needs to be voted on is the item the manager's office has already distributed to the commissioners.
Yes.
Not what we were just handed this morning. What we just provided us this morning is not something that you want to vote on.
It's not relevant to the item?
I don't think so. I think
Mr. Pathman?
That's the legal description that we also worked with the city, with Danny
Mr. Chair, may I suggest that Mr. Pathman simply look at the memo that Todd has, the clerk has, to ensure that it's consistent? Because I think the confusion is.
I'll do that, but I did that this morning with the clerk, but I'll
That's fine. I think the confusion is something was handed to Dr. Ihekwaba, my apologies. And he's not sure if it matches what the clerk has.
He just wants to check that it matches. That's fine.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking.
That's absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So the item's not up right now anyway, but the concerns noted, the administration's working on it. So we'll move on. Ms. Snyder, sorry to keep you waiting.
I'm concerned that there's no quorum here, right? Okay.
Oh, we have plenty of quorum. We're good.
Well,
We have a near full
Commissioner
dais.
Reyes is back. That would be great. Thank you. Okay. I just didn't want to talk without there being people here. Okay, good morning, Commissioners.
Could you pull the microphone just a little closer? You don't have to take your mask off, just the
I will,
microphone.
because
it's up to you.
that way you can see me and I can talk, and we're just talking to a microphone here. I'm talking about PH9, the item that has to do with eliminating the balloting and the democratic process.
Your name, please?
In what happens in communist China, Cuba, and Venezuela, other places such as that. I don't think we should do that.
Could we get your name, please, just for the record?
Okay, my name is Cindy Snyder, and my address is 3980 Hardy Road. I'm in the South Grove, and this has to do with a proposal for in the South Grove. We don't want to let that balloting process be bypassed. The neighbors need to be able to weigh on this item that affects this neighborhood. Don't let that happen here. Let the people vote, as they have always done, on these traffic control matters. That's all I'm asking you to do, is to let the process continue to work. Also, I have a question for you, Commissioner Russell. I believe I heard you say, or somebody refer to, that the speed limit in the South Grove had been reduced to 25 miles per hour. And this morning, we did see one new sign that indicated that the speed limit was now 25 miles per hour, such as it is over in Coral Gables on the other side of Lejeune. And we would just request that there would be a few more of those signs. We have not done an exhaustive study on this, but we just see one, and we think that in and of itself could be a significant improvement. And we know that has been done. We just want to see a couple of signs in important places for people to recognize that.
Thank you. On that, I agree with you. We've lit a fire and hired another contractor to increase the speed at which they implement the signs.
What was that?
More signs are coming sooner. Yes.
Yeah, well, we don't want to be inundated with signs. We just think that...
Ma'am, please speak in the microphone. Ma'am?
Good to have that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Chair, I'm glad she brought up the installation of the 25 miles per hour sign, because my district is lacking them also, you see. I mean, let's try to increase the speed of installing those.
Increase the speed of reducing the speed.
Increase the speed of reducing the speed.
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Gary Ellsworth. I would like to draw your attention to the rally that is currently taking place outside in opposition to SR2. I am so pleased to know that the Commission is so intimidated by the democratic participation of the people that you have chose to delay this. However, I guarantee that we will return at the next meeting. We will come in greater numbers and we will not be silenced. This ordinance is pure barbarism, a violation of human rights, and completely the opposite of what any civilized society should be doing. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Commissioners, can I speak on SR2? I may not be here on the 28th. Would
Yes.
that be okay? Well, dear Commissioners, as you know, the city of Miami has the highest number of homeless in Miami-Dade County. You're aware that Miami-Dade County has a no camping ordinance that is not being enforced. The only city in Miami-Dade County that is enforcing it, it is the city of Miami Beach, and it remains free of tents. I have dedicated 20 years working with the homeless. For 12 years, we hosted 6 yearly homeless events in the city of Miami Beach with the attendance of 250 to 350 homeless and poor people. The last 7 years, I worked directly with the homeless and housing department of the city of Miami Beach, doing 2 things. Number 1, street outreach with their staff equivalent to the green shirts, and hiring homeless people placed in shelters by the city of Miami Beach. We hired 190 people in 7 years. My experience has led me to place homeless people in 3 categories. Number 1, those that want help. Number 2, those that are mentally ill and don't understand they need help. And number 3, those that are homeless by choice, they refuse to accept help. Homeless that are tent dwellers are homeless by category, in category number 3. They refuse to accept assistance, shelters, permanent housing, bus relocation to live with family or friends, and substance abuse program. This help is constantly offered by the Green Shirts, the police department, and the Homeless Trust. Most have substance abuse problems and or personal issues and refuse to follow the rules. Allowing tent living is promoting a harmful lifestyle and prolonging what is best for the homeless to accept help. Living in tents is dangerous, unsanitary, no toilets, no running water, more infestation of rats, rodents, and roaches. There is no electricity, more prone to illness, especially during COVID. It damages the body, mind, and spirit, and exposes them to abuse, especially the women. Let us hope and pray they accept help. In today's job market, it is much easier to them to find employment and move forward to be self-sustaining, independent, and free. Not allowing tent living is not criminalizing the homeless. On the contrary, it is criminal to continue to allow human beings to live in tents. Promoting this lifestyle shows a lack of true compassion for human beings. It is damaging to those homeless people.
Thank you.
Tent living is, I'm finishing, detrimental to the quality of life of all residents and visitors of Miami-Dade County and the city of Miami. Thank you, and please pass the no camping ordinance.
Thank you, Father. If I could ask everyone in the audience as well as the administration to please take any conversations outside the chambers so we give respect to those who are speaking. Thank you. Mr. Snyder, good morning.
Yes, John Snyder. I'm the president of the South Grove Neighborhood Association. I live at 3980 Hardy Avenue. I've lived there for 35 years. My understanding was that the speed limit on Hardy, and I'm speaking on PH5, the traffic calming. I put quotes around it because I feel that that's a good name for a bad idea. They wish to construct 50...
Just a moment, Mr. Snyder. Please, no conversations in the chambers other than who is recognized to speak. Thank you.
The proposal is to construct 50 constructions, things like speed tables. There are 20 of these speed tables. All of those speed tables come with approximately 6 large yellow signs. It may be traffic calming, but I call it a cacophony of urban blight. We don't need it. There was a traffic study. I looked at some of the particulars of it. It said if 1 out of 6 cars is exceeding the speed limit, the posted speed limit, by 10 miles an hour, that qualified for a speed table. The highest speed on Hardy was 34 miles per hour. It's not posted anywhere. The speed limit was 30. So that's only 4 miles per hour. Even if it's changed to 25, and they do post it someday, then it's still not 10 miles per hour. This is a bad idea. It has a good name, but it's a bad idea. The characteristics of governments that are transitioning from socialism to communism is that when somewhat reasonable rules aren't followed by people, some of the people, then the government thinks that they know what is best and take away decision-making from the people. Ultimately, this will destroy their rights, their property, and their liberty. Don't do it.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning, Helena Del Monte, CEO of the Association for the Development of the Exceptional, 51 Northeast 79th Street. I am here with a loud message of thanks, especially to our district commissioner, Commissioner Watson. Thank you very much for your support on CDBG funds. This shows what not only you, sir, but the rest of the commissioners, because in one way or another, each one of you have always come to the rescue of adults with developmental disabilities. And that goes to the core of one of the priorities of the city of Miami, always helping our most vulnerable. Thank you very, very much. Thank you, and also have a wonderful, happy Thanksgiving that is coming up very, very soon. God bless you all.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Jerome Reisman on behalf of PH8. I have been born in Miami. I worked for the city of Miami multiple years during college and law school, traveled with Steve Clark, and was on multiple committees here, international, and actually established a sister city with Israel. I'm here on PH8 because this is the type of program that this city needs. Aging out of foster care leaves children on the street. We need to take care of them. This is an opportunity to take care of those children, help them become educated, and contribute to society. The program has already placed, since 2006, a number of children into advanced college educations and into employment, where they contribute to society and the tax base, and I ask you to support this item.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Shirley Presley, and I am one of the board members for Liberty City Optimists. I am here to thank the city commissioner, all of the city commissioners, for continuing to support the youth in our community. Our baseball program, 2 of our baseball teams won sectional titles this summer, and one of our teams was able to compete against the state championship. I also tutor. The funding helps provide materials that I need to work with my students. I tutor 4 days a week, and it's grades 1 through 9. So we are very grateful for your continued support. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Mr. Pathman.
Mr. Chairman, just wanted to clarify again for the record, what the clerk has was identical to what I submitted, except mine is the certified copy, which now the clerk has. So I think we're all in agreement that the record is clear, and this would be the proper easement for the FPNL easement.
Mr. Ihikwaba, you're satisfied?
Yes.
Thank you very much. So we can move on with
Thank you.
PH2
Thank you, everybody.
when that item comes up. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Bass. Where was I? Good morning.
Good morning. My name is RJ Ordanes, representing Miami Homes for All, located on 1951 Northwest 7th Avenue, Miami, Florida 33136. I'm here to speak in opposition to SR2. This measure will criminalize people experiencing homelessness and make it increasingly difficult for folks to qualify for housing in the future. In August 2021, there were 510 people living on our streets. This is a 28% decline from last year and the lowest unsheltered number the city has seen since 2014. SR2 will only increase these numbers of people living on our streets and make it harder for our partners, like the City of Miami's outreach team, Camilla's House, Lotus House, and others to serve our residents. Vote no or defer this item. I know this is already going for next week, but please consider these alternatives. Increase coordination with the Homeless Trust and service providers to create more housing to decrease street homelessness. The Trust is already working to secure 2 new sites outside of the city, one for seniors and one for unsheltered single adults with disabilities. They've partnered with the Miami Foundation to help buy and operate new facilities. They've also scaled up the pace, referring households to permanent housing, in addition to deploying new specialized outreach teams focused on encampments and people struggling with substance abuse. Develop innovative solutions using ESG, ARP, and CARES Act to assist residents in accessing housing directly from the street. Do not criminalize people experiencing homelessness. We can all come together to implement best practices. Everyone deserves a safe and stable place to call home. We want to work with you to make Miami the best city so everyone can thrive. We must, 1, build a unified team to get to a functional zero, and 2, partner with each other to utilize data to target efforts and resources accordingly. We are so ready to work with you to achieve functional zero on homelessness in the city of Miami. Please do not hesitate to reach out to us. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. And for those of you who are here speaking on SR2, the item has been deferred. This is the public comment for that item. So if you're speaking today, we will not be opening public comment for that item when it does come next month or at the next meeting, except for those who weren't here today to speak. So this is your moment for public comment, not to come today and then come again in the next meeting and say the same thing. So I just want to let people know if they want to speak when the item is up, do not speak today, please. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Kala Hummel. I live at 790 Northwest 51st Street, and I am a professor of political science at the University of Miami. I'm also here to speak on SR2. I may be teaching the next time it comes up, and so I'd like to take time to urge you to vote no on this ineffective and wasteful ordinance today. It costs about $4,500 to jail a person in the city of Miami for a month. In comparison, the median rent is $19.50 right now, and the median income is only $17.50 per month. Thus, spending taxpayer dollars to jail people when it would cost less than 50% of that to give them a rental voucher for the month is a waste of the taxes I pay, and I believe a waste of the time of the police officers that we all pay. We have, as other speakers have mentioned, we have more effective and direct ways of addressing homelessness in the city of Miami. You have all worked for and supported these efforts in the past, and so I urge you to continue to do that and to vote no on this particular ordinance. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner
Let me ask
Diaz-Portilla,
you-
you recognize.
yeah, thank you.
Would you like to speak to that speaker?
Professor, you're a professor of psychology at the University of Miami or political science?
Political science.
Okay, and you're offering an opinion on homelessness today?
I'm offering my opinion as a homeowner here in the city of Miami, not as part of my department.
Okay, none of your profession, right? Just as a resident of the city of Miami?
As a resident, yes.
Okay, not your area of expertise, correct?
I can use my expertise as somebody who's very used to looking at data and laws, but I'm not here to represent the University of Miami as an official representative of the University
As a
of Miami.
political science professor?
I am a political science professor.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Next speaker, please. You recognize, sir. Go ahead.
How's everybody doing? Good morning. My name is Winnick Blaine. I live in Little Haiti. I live on 568 Northeast 76th Street, Miami, Florida, 331-778. I'm here today to speak upon behalf of my grandfather, my grandparents, Mr. Vita and Maria Juice. They are the pioneers, one of the major pioneers of Little Haiti. And I'm here to speak to try to push forward on getting a street named after my grandparents. And the reasons for is my grandfather throughout the years, himself coming from Haiti in the early 1970s, he found a way to get to the United States legally, of course. And when he got to this great nation, he was able to establish businesses. He was able to establish funding. He was able to establish, he was an educator, entrepreneur. And he was also, he fought for the people here of Little Haiti, for those who came here legally, to help them become legalized in America. He also helped them find jobs, etc. My grandparents collectively over the 40 years residing over Little Haiti helped over 100,000 people, Haitians. And my grandfather also worked very closely with the Cuban community as well, too, in order to unite back in the early 1970s. So this is very important. Mr. Commissioner Watson, nice to meet you. I know you run our district, and I'm very pleased to be in front of you right now to be talking to you. But definitely this is very, very important, not only to our family and to the legacy of Mr. Vitor Maria Juice, but also to the community of Little Haiti and for a lot of Haitians around the world that fought for the independence and freedom. And this is why I'm here, to get that street named after my grandparents.
Thank you. And that's in favor of RE2.
Yes,
Thank you
sir.
for your comments.
All right, thank you. Appreciate everybody. Have a great day.
Thanks for coming. Good morning.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melanie Ramirez. I live in 3145 Mundy Street, and I'm speaking in opposition of SR2. I'm going to be sharing my experience of homelessness. I was couch surfing for 3 weeks and had nowhere else to go. I borrowed a friend's phone and called the homeless hotline. Hoping for good news, I met with the disappointment of finding out that there was no available space in any homeless shelter and was told to wait after the weekend to call again on Monday to gamble with the possibility of meeting with the same disappointment. Feeling helpless and defeated, all I could do is cry in the anticipation of what is going to be my next move. This is a common thing for those who've experienced homelessness in Miami. Media has portrayed the homeless to be dirty, irresponsible, hostile, lazy, and drug addicts. This right here is my homeless ID from last year. I was a scared, defenseless 19-year-old college student at the beginning and the worst time during the COVID-19 pandemic. After running out of options, someone from Miami-Dade College was able to place me in a shelter. But what if I wasn't so lucky? The homeless consist of young people, those with disabilities, the elderly, families with children, and the list goes on. These people fight for survival against COVID and homelessness. Hypothetically speaking, when your mother tells you to clean your room, shoving everything under your bed doesn't cut it. But that's what SR is doing, giving 2 people 2 hours to go where? I know someone listening is thinking, why can't the homeless get a house? It's because they can't afford it. Why can't they get a job? Because a lot of them don't have identification to get employed. They say, give a man a fish, it will feed him for a day. Teach a man to fish, he will feed himself for a lifetime. But what this is putting a hole in their boat and watching them sink and swim with the fishes. So the next time you say, I'm going home, think about those who can't. Thank you.
Thank you. Please. Nope. We don't allow booing and we don't allow applause. Please just give your respect and silence. I thank you for your comments and advocacy. Thank you for coming. Good morning.
Morning. My name is Alana Greer. I work at the Community Justice Project, and I'm here today in opposition to SR2. I want to thank you all for deferring the item. I think it's the right call. This issue is near and dear to my heart. I grew up in times before the Pottinger Agreement and very close to that fight. And my first job out of college was going out to California to coordinate a program to help bring legal services and relief to people who are criminalized under a law exactly like this. I saw what happened when cities did this. I saw mothers who had waited decades on a Section 8 waiting list get denied because they had a ticket for sleeping outside. I saw people get denied rehab programs, educational programs, and I saw the frontline police officers bringing our referral brochures as they wrote tickets because they knew how ineffective those processes were. The only people who benefited from that were the politicians who said, hey, we did something about it and could walk away. This policy is not only morally wrong, it's going to cost millions of dollars and condemn people to many more years of homelessness. When I was out in California, I was so proud of what we did at the City of Miami, of the fact that we did things differently, that we were striving to treat people with different dignity. We had a long way to go, but we were trying. And it saddens me so deeply that we are considering turning our backs on that basic principle. I really hope you all consider the testimony of people who have experienced homelessness in this city, and do the right thing when this item comes back up. Thank you.
For your comments.
I have a question.
Commissioner
What-
Diaz-Labortia and then
I do
Commissioner
have a-
Carollo.
What part of California?
I was in San Francisco.
Yeah, great job they did with homelessness over there.
Exactly. They criminalized it and it caused a lot more people to stay in the street. We should do better.
It's world renowned what they did over there. Thank
So
you.
I'm confused as to why you want to copy them.
Excuse me, Ms. Greer.
Commissioner Carrillo, you're recognized.
Ms. Greer, I didn't understand something you said before, I'm sorry. What organization do you represent?
I'm with the Community Justice Project. We're lawyers and we work with racial justice
Community
organizations.
Justice Project.
Yes.
Is that connected, involved, part of Dream Defenders?
They're one of our clients.
Okay, they're a client, they're not part of your group.
No, we're lawyers and they're an organizing group.
Okay, then maybe I read something wrong. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, Constance. How are you?
Good morning. My name is Constance Collins. I'm the Executive Director of the Lotus House Women's Shelter. The anti-encampment ordinance is only going to exacerbate homelessness. I have spent the last 18 years of my life as a full-time volunteer and Executive Director at Lotus House. We are committed to evidence-based best practices. We have sheltered over 7,000 women and children in that time. One thing we know is that the solutions to ending homelessness are not simple, but we cannot arrest our way out of them. It requires a multifaceted, comprehensive, resource-enriched approach with supportive shelter, with trauma-informed outreach, with access to medical and mental health care, job training, educational supports, financial resources, and pathways to housing that is actually affordable. We have an opportunity as a community to come together. We all recognize that homelessness is an enormous public health issue and it's a human rights issue in our community. We want what's best for everyone. I would encourage you to take leadership with this time for the deferment, and more if that's what it takes, to bring together the Homeless Trust, the Continuum of Care, the parties that stand in this room that are deeply passionate about and dedicated to ending homelessness. And let's come up with solutions that are humane. Let's come up with that multifaceted, comprehensive approach that is a best practice, that is evidence-based, and that will provide meaningful pathways to safe, secure lives. You know, violence is the leading cause of homelessness for women and children. And every day at Lotus House, we have over 500 sheltered with us. More than half of who we shelter are children. Last night, we took in 7 children from the age of 3 to 11. They need a home. Their mom did not need to be arrested because they were out on a sidewalk. They need a place to be safe. And you can help make a difference with the resources available to you. But we don't do it by punishing people. We do it by lifting them up.
Thank you, Ms.
And I
Collins.
pray that you will take that to your heart. And remember, if it was you who lost your home tonight, where would you sleep? Would it be the laundromat? Would it be the hallways of the hospital? Would it be the abandoned alley? Would it be the abandoned building?
Thank you, Ms. Collins.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair,
You recognize Commissioner Reyes and then Commissioner Watson.
Let me include now that you have this conversation, although it's been deferred. But I want you to know that it is not the city of Miami the only one that is taking action against the epidemic, of the homeless epidemic, and what is transforming cities, you see, and how much the negative effect of other cities. There are other cities that are taking action also. I have ordinance number 187127 from Los Angeles that they are taking action, and they have creating constraint or making it illegal to sitting, lying, or sleeping, or storing, using, maintaining, or placing personal property in the public right of way. You see, what I'm trying to tell you is that I agree with you. We have to find a solution that it is humane, but also, as I stated it when we were outside, the homeless have a right, but the residents have a right too. The people have the right to. So let's try to do it the best way we can. Okay, I agree with you, but we will be discussing this.
Thank you,
But,
Commissioner.
but it's not only us. There are other cities, and you know the state of LA with homeless.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes.
Understood, Commissioner. And LA has definitely not ended homelessness with its anti-camping activities.
They just passed this July the 28th.
I pray we come together. There are solutions. Let's find them together.
Well, I think,
Commissioner
Mr.
Watson,
Chair,
you're
what I
recognized.
wanted to say, because a lot of people seem to want to speak on this, the reason we deferred it was to have a conversation with those activists who said they had a solution. So a lot of people come to the podium speaking, maybe not hearing us, but the reason that it was deferred was to have a conversation. I don't know if all those people you're talking about are going to be involved, but at least someone said, we think we have some solutions that we can live with, that you can live with, and we think it make a lot of sense, so let's talk about it. And that's why we deferred it. So for those who want to talk about it, let the process, as you have asked for, take its course, okay? See what then comes out of it, and then you can come back, because we're not necessarily trying to give it short shrift. That's why I asked my colleague to defer to having a conversation, because someone asked for that conversation, okay? So if you're speaking on it as it exists today, it may not make a lot of sense to continue to speak, because it might change to the benefit of everybody, right? It's just want to have that sink in a bit, because that's why we deferred it, okay?
Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning.
Good morning. Hello, my name is Jennifer Hernandez, and I'm here to speak in regards to Ordinance SR2. The problem is homelessness, not the homeless. People are not on the street by choice. They're on the street because they have nowhere to go. Shelters are full with a minimum wait time of 2 weeks, and resources like the Homeless Trust are overwhelmed. Research shows that providing housing is the most effective solution to homelessness. Los Angeles, which has been mentioned in this meeting already, has a homeless population of at least 40,000 individuals, and they've been able to build housing facilities using recycled shipment containers. There's inexpensive solutions. They've set a goal to build 25,000 housing units by 2025. There are plenty of vacant buildings in this county and city that could be converted to housing for the homeless. Providing these people with safety and stability allows them to transition back into society. This is doable. Providing homes mixes fiscal responsibility with compassion. There is hope for change. The solution is housing, not punishing those who are struggling. And I hope you are hearing us all here today. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Iona Sawyer. I work with Lotus House. The problem is not homelessness, it's how do we help the homeless. As they always say, please don't judge a book by its cover. So many times we hear about what we see and what goes on, but the issue is we're so quick to point out the problem, especially what they see is wrong. I was homeless, and I remember so many times I called on the Lord, and I just said, I must just keep moving forward. As a person that is not able to drive because of my health, I've come to talk with people. You hear about, and I've seen, there are homeless that use the restroom. And as you say, residents have a right. But do you hear people pointing at the finger at the residents that are using the restrooms while their dogs and they're giggling and laughing about it? Do you hear so much about the homeless? Oh, they're just sitting there throwing the trash. But do you hear about those residents that didn't like that cigarette, flicked it on the side? You're so quick to hear about those that aren't able to speak for themselves, whether it be maybe they're a little on the alcohol, they're a little on the tired. But did you take the time out to find out why? There was a gentleman that he had a seizure on. Come to find out, he was a police officer. Gentleman, and the people, I knew he was a police officer because I talked with him. A police officer drove by him. And I said, sir, he's having a problem. Oh, he's probably on crack. Literally said that. And I just shook my head. One of the gentlemen that was sitting on the side who was homeless was a doctor. He had became homeless due to some situations. He literally stopped and tended to the gentleman. I said, sir, thank you so much. Again, we need to stop looking at homeless as the problem, but we need to look at it as the situation, and the issue needs to be, how do we help the homeless?
Thank you. Thank you for your comments.
Excuse me, how many students do we have here today? Any students here? Okay, thank you.
Good morning.
Hi, good morning. Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Ray Johnson. I am the health
Chair, I'm sorry, we cannot hear her.
Just a little closer to the microphone, please.
Okay, my name is Ray Johnson. I'm the Program Director for Wellness and Substance Abuse at Lotus House Women's Shelter. Thank you so much for hearing me today. I wanted to just talk about a little bit about what Iona was talking about, that when we see somebody experiencing homelessness, we never know why they're really experiencing it. So many times women with serious trauma histories go untreated because they lack access to resources, such as basic medical services and mental health services, resorting to self-medication, a constant consequence of traumatic lived experiences. When you are on the street, breast exams and pap smears are not a priority. To find somewhere to sleep when it got dark, that is the priority. Today, I want to share with you, over 16 years ago, I found myself in the same position as the people targeted by this ordinance. Life circumstances had led me to become homeless and to live on the street. I would like to just take a minute and let that sink in, because if I would not have told you that, you would not have known that. People experiencing homelessness look like you and myself. They look like the mailman, they look like the bus driver, they look like police officers, they look like EMTs, they look like police dispatchers, because I know some of them personally that have experienced homelessness myself. Today I have a master's in social work and I'm a certified addiction professional. We talk about what people experiencing homelessness are, but do we talk about what they become and what they're able to become? Because we're able to stabilize and to receive resources from places like the Lotus House, because if I had not found myself there at the Lotus House, I don't know where I would be today. So I want to just implore you, before I close, to take a minute to look around the room and see people who are fortunate. And that's not a bad thing. Just don't target those who are less fortunate. Instead of investing in more policing and jails, let's invest in people. Thank you, please, and read the handouts that we have provided.
Thank you for your comments. Commissioner Diaz-Labortia, you're recognized.
Ma'am, you said he had a master's in social services?
I do, social work, yes.
Social work? And who do you work for now, ma'am?
Lotus House Women's Shelter.
You work for
I'm
Lotus
the
House.
wellness director.
You work for Lotus House.
Program, yes.
And was there an organized effort to bring people here today by Lotus House?
Absolutely.
There was?
Was it organized?
Yeah, was there sort of an organized effort to bring people here before this commission today at Lotus House?
We're here with my director.
Right, I saw your director already, but was there an organized effort to bring people here today?
Yeah, we're here together.
I want to be clear
Yes,
that
ma'am.
we explained to Lotus House team that this hearing was scheduled today and that anyone who wished to volunteer could speak, and that's all that was done.
Yes.
So there was an organized effort to bring people here today to speak against this ordinance?
I would not call it an organized effort.
It's
I would call it
a simple
a
question.
volunteer.
It's sort of a...
Quiet, please.
It's sort of a yes or no question. Was there an organized effort to bring people here today?
No, it was not an
It's
organized
spontaneous,
effort.
it was organic in nature?
It was most certainly organic, and until this morning, I had no idea who was actually going to be there.
And do you appreciate the conversation we're trying to have about this issue?
We appreciate and we want to contribute to that conversation.
Okay, in a positive way, right? Not in a hostile manner?
Of course.
Okay.
Of course.
Okay.
Quiet,
Right, so-
please.
Because you do know that we're the duly elected, all of us are duly elected officials of this city. And we all want to find a solution to this. And we want to have an honest and open conversation about this. So we already deferred the item. We're going to have that honest and open conversation and take all viewpoints into account, of course. Intelligent people do that, right? And that's what we want to try to do. But what we don't want is to have this adversarial kind of conversation, because it doesn't benefit anyone. And it clearly doesn't benefit the homeless in our city.
We have asked
Because
for
if you keep on using Los Angeles as an example of a model of the things that have happened, Los Angeles has 40,000 homeless people. What does Miami have?
Totally agree.
Right. No, we don't have more. No, I'm sorry. That's the facts matter. Facts matter.
Agreed.
And then you have someone else from San Francisco talking about, political science professor or whatever she was, I'm sorry, talking about the Los Angeles, the California experience. Everybody knows what the California experience has led to, right? Has not worked. San Francisco is definitely not the model we want to follow. So we want to have a serious conversation, a compassionate conversation, because we have that compassion here, but we want to be practical. We don't want to use bad examples that don't work and won't work in the city of Miami. Miami's homeless problem is a lot less than a lot of those cities in California you're talking about. So let's have an honest conversation with facts.
And that's why we're here, Commissioner.
Please, no outbursts from the audience, please.
And that is why we're here, and that is why we have asked for all parties to come together.
Correct.
Because we do know what works. We have 18 years of knowing what works.
Of course, and Lotus House is one of the most respected organizations in our community.
And
But
that's what we're talking about.
ma'am, have you called my office ever to have a meeting with me?
Yes.
Really, ma'am?
Yes, we have, and we've been unable
On
to
this-
get a
on
meeting.
this-
And we have emailed.
Really? On this item?
We have, I'm sorry, if I could, please. We have contacted your office. We have sent emails to you. We wish to meet with you about
I will
homelessness
meet with you today
generally.
during our lunch break. You come to my office, I'll meet with you today.
Thank you.
I'm not talking about mass emails. I'm talking about, have you personally contacted my office? My chief of staff sitting right, was right there. She went outside now. Carla Fortuny, call her, and I'll meet during lunch with you today.
Thank you.
One-on-one.
I would so
Because
appreciate that.
I know what you do. In fact, one of your workers, one of your biggest activists, used to work for me. So I'm very, very sensitive and very appreciative of the work you do. But I think it works. It works with having an honest, open conversation, not an adversarial one, because it doesn't benefit anybody. It clearly doesn't benefit our city. It doesn't benefit our homeless population. We want to talk about it and find common ground.
We do too.
Yeah.
That's all
So
we
you
want.
come during lunchtime. You come to my office and we'll sit down and
Thank
talk
you.
about it. Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, Constance. Please let me be clear. We will not tolerate outbursts in the chambers. If you want to speak amongst yourselves, please go outside. If you cannot control yourself and you want to yell at this dais, it's not going to be tolerated in here. You will be asked to leave. So I'm going to ask very politely. I know you're very passionate about this subject. You have come to speak on it. You're worried about this ordinance. I get it. But we need to be civil and have order in this chamber. Thank you.
And Mr. Chair, just, and I think another colleague had asked as well, I think what happens is everybody has good intentions. And I know what has happened as relates to why we deferred it. And so we deferred this item because a member of concern organization asked for it to be deferred so that we can sit down and talk to each other and have solutions. They had solutions. I think that's fair. And that's what we try to do, okay? We can't talk to each other, but that's what we try to do. That's why I asked my colleague, could I put that forth, right? And so I think the concern becomes now, we'll get a continuation of barrages of how bad people we are, when in fact, people who are working in the issue are not talking to each other. And so you want us to be considerate, right? But you are not talking to each other because someone who's involved in the issue, and I know there's 18 years of experience. Look, there's a dedicated source of revenue at the Homeless Trust. Dedicated source of revenue that gets from all of us, a dedicated source of revenue. And the problem still continues. And you're right, LA is not the greatest model, but clearly when we hear from people in the community who are involved, and they have come forward and said we have solutions, then you all are not talking to each other, right? So it's great to holler and scream at us, but clearly that's not happening because that's why the item was deferred. This is just one, as my colleagues now have their own comments and issues relative to the concern, we are concerned. Otherwise, we probably would have moved forward. But we deferred it in favor of sitting down, okay, and making sure that there's a win-win for everybody involved. So I think that's what you hear from us. Just wanted to say.
Thank you. Good morning, recognized.
Hi, good morning. My name is Lily Ostrer. I'm a physician at Jackson Memorial Hospital. I'm here to speak out against SR2, the anti-camping ordinance. Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla just spoke about compassion. And what compassion does not look like is discharging your patients from the hospital back to the street so that they can get arrested. What compassion does not look like is when I have patients that get admitted to the hospital month after month because their medications are stolen on the street. And when they say, "Doctor, can you help me find housing?" I say, the waiting list is over a month long. That is not what compassion looks like. Our city can do better. Our city can do better than sending people back to the street to get arrested. You're here saying that we need to learn how to speak with each other, to come up with solutions. There are years upon years of research that have shown solutions that work, solutions that include building more affordable housing, building supportive housing, which means offering supportive programs to people that are experiencing mental health and medical issues. And there are cities across the country that are implementing these programs. We can do the same in Miami, and we have not done that. So when we say that there are conversations that need to be had, we completely agree. But we're out here today because the item that came before the commission today was to consider locking people in jail. I just spent the last 19 months caring for patients with COVID-19 in the hospital. We were overwhelmed by the number of patients that were coming in, and sending people to jails where we know COVID-19 spreads is not a solution. So for us to turn up today, this was an urgent matter that affects not only ourselves and our brothers and sisters here in Miami, it affects our entire community. So I'm asking you today not only to reject this ordinance and to never again consider arresting people on the street simply for existing and trying to live on the street for the crime of being poor. I'm asking you to invest in programs that are shown to actually provide people with the resources they need to have a sustained livelihood and to have health. And this city has not attempted that. And I look forward to the solutions that you can come up with in the conversations you mentioned,
Thank you.
Commissioner Watson.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Allison Dos Santos. I live at 237 Southwest 13th Street in Miami. I am here today because I showed up organically, and I'm here today to share my story, my father's story, and my family's story because stories are powerful, and they're integral to solutions. With all due respect, Commissioner Watson. About a year and a half ago, my brother and I couldn't find my father. He experienced chronic homelessness for many, many years. We tried to track him down. We talked to his friends, and about a week later, my brother set out to go find him. When he found my father, he was dead, without a roof over his head. Homelessness is not a choice. It affects not only the individual who is homeless or experiencing homelessness, it affects mothers, fathers, sons, daughters, sisters, brothers. It affects entire communities. It's a product of a system that values profit over people. And I hope that you will hear all of these stories today and take them into consideration as you guys put together your solutions. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Anna Neal. The way to end homelessness on the streets of Miami is not to put people experiencing homelessness in jail. It is to put them into homes. I'm an attorney. I'm not a civil rights attorney.
Excuse me, you said put them into homes.
Homes.
Okay, you're giving me some ideas. Thank you.
Great. I'm not a civil rights attorney. I'm actually a federal antitrust litigator. But about 3 years ago, I joined a group of attorneys defending the Pottinger consent decree because I was deeply troubled by the city's cruel and inhumane treatment of some of its most vulnerable residents. At that time, the city was systematically harassing homeless residents and destroying their personal property, medications, eyeglasses, family photos. In the name of cleaning up, these items were taken from unhoused residents by city employees, oftentimes when the residents were present, and over their objections and thrown into city garbage trucks. And the response of this commission at that time was not to curtail these actions, but instead to seek an end to the decades-long Pottinger consent decree that protected the constitutional rights of individuals experiencing homelessness. Over the course of several months of discovery and several days of an evidentiary hearing in front of Judge Federico Moreno, attorneys and witnesses for the city assured the court that the city had changed. They said Pottinger was no longer needed because the city had changed its tune. It respected homeless residents, it had safeguards in place to assure that their personal property would be protected, and never again would the city try to arrest its way out of homelessness. Now, I'm a litigator, and I must say that I love being proven right. I mean, look at my notepad, my list of things I was right about. And when the city assured the federal judge that it had changed, I was skeptical. I didn't believe the city was being sincere. But when Judge Moreno ended the consent decree, taking the city at its word, I wanted desperately to be proven wrong. I hoped my skepticism was unfounded and that the city would keep its promises, that it would protect and help its residents experiencing homelessness. So it brings me no pleasure to stand here today and say, unfortunately, I was right. Recently, the city has returned to traumatizing and harassing homeless residents, destroying their property and making an already difficult life worse. And now, with this proposed ordinance, the city wants to fine and arrest people merely for living on the street. Again, if the city of Miami wants to get folks off the street, it has an option. Help to put them into housing. Don't put them in jail. I urge this commission to vote no on this ordinance. I look forward to hearing what might be proposed in 2 weeks. And I would urge the city to seek a compassionate and constructive solution.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, you're recognized.
My name is Shamikwa Buxton on behalf of Lotus House Women's Shelter, and I'm here in opposition of SR2. Punitive measures like this proposed anti-camping ordinance serve no productive purpose, as people experiencing homelessness are not there by choice, but from lack of choices. Continuing the cycle of homelessness, punitive policies place additional barriers in the way of escape, as criminal records and fines make it even more difficult to find employment, housing, maintain financial stability, and transition out of homelessness. This anti-camping ordinance will not solve this public health crisis, as there's a lack of affordable housing within our community. With rising costs of operations, shelters are struggling to keep their doors open and beds available. Shelters like Lotus House are extremely underfunded, as additional resources are needed to maintain basic operation, food, supportive services, and safety. Rather than proposing ways to punish people for life-sustaining activities, let's shift the conversation. The conversation needs to be shifted to practical solutions like greater financial assistance, supportive shelters, affordable housing, and community-based resources that can actually bridge the gap and allow people to successfully exit out of homelessness. Passing this ordinance will worsen homelessness and unfairly penalize our community's most vulnerable. Thank you for your time.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Daniela. Sorry, I've never spoken on a mic. And I'm speaking as well, coming here just on my own time. I focus on helping feed the houseless community every week with a lot of other people that I know, taking charge to try and understand the situation that's continuously changing every month because new ordinances keep on being in place, making it much harder for us to help our community.
Could you come out, just lift the mic up? It'll actually
Sorry.
bounce you a little closer.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good? Okay. You guys don't want to talk about LA, and I get that, and I'm not here to talk about it. I want to talk about Miami because there's a lot of people that actually know what's happening every single day, every single night, going out, running around, avoiding fines that police officers are giving while we're just trying to feed, watching houseless community members crying because they went to go get their HIV medication and came back to a police officer ripping apart their tents. Creating communities within these encampments is very special, and I'm not saying it's the correct thing to be doing. We should be pushing people towards housing, but those encampments are safe spaces for a lot of people where they can create community and try and find a little bit of joy with the destruction and the sadness that they have to deal with every day. Okay, so That's just something I wanted to make a comment of before I start. I'm here hoping that somehow we can convince the city to reconsider the fining penalty being enforced over the houseless community, as well as the humble traveling people making their way to their needed destinations. Through this very difficult transition of living during a pandemic while being condemned for trying to survive. It is absurd to me, and to clearly many, who are also here because we are closer to being houseless than we are to being millionaires and to being in your positions, which that's why we're here, to avoid that. It is absurd to me and many that there are people getting up every morning, putting on fresh, clean clothes, deciding what they want to eat for breakfast, and then driving to their jobs, only to spend the day removing the only belonging a human might own while they sleep on empty stomach and wake up in a roofless morning. It needs to become more clear that many people care about the lives of those affected by these ordinances. People that have been living in fear every day that they are losing more opportunity in this country and in this world.
Thank you.
Losing hope. I'm almost done. We cannot cleanse our city from its poverty problem and call prison cells accessible rehabilitation centers. We cannot continue to ignore the fact that this city is putting more energy into quick solutions for street decluttering than actually supporting and funding the groups of people dedicating time and love to this crisis and the humans affected by it every day. Lotus House is an example of what we can do when effort is put in helping those on the street. Many work to bring hope to those who have felt forsaken while our city builds bridges over our homes. Listen to those who are here on their own time to speak for the houseless. We come because we care. We have to face the fact our city has over 3,000 unsheltered civilians. The fact that we run out of meals every time we go out and people are chasing our cars and all I can do is put my head under.
I apologize. The time's up, ma'am.
We need to have mercy and gather more ways to bring people out of the streets rather than give them a reason to be there. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Please, when you hear the 30-second beep, please wrap it up at that point. If we add a minute to 2 minutes to each person's comments, we're not being fair to others that are respecting the 2-minute limit. Thank you.
Vice Chairman Russell, is the mask required at the mic?
It's not.
Thank you. Commissioners and others who make and enforce the laws in the city of Miami, I'm here today to oppose the proposed ban on encampments whenever it comes back to the floor. It should never come back. Such laws serve no purpose toward ending homelessness. They serve only to add misery and to demonize traumatized people who do not want to be living on the street. As founder of October 22nd Alliance to End Homelessness, I've been an advocate for people experiencing homelessness for over 12 years in South Florida, so I speak from experience. As an advocate, I interviewed the victims of the sweeps of homeless encampments, especially those in Overtown, not long after the August 2nd sweep. When you moved this ordinance forward on September 13th, Assistant Chief Manny Morales referenced the heat unit as leading these sweeps. A more accurate term would be perpetrating these sweeps, since what occurred was nothing short of criminal barbarism. Mr. Morales concluded by stating to this body, I guarantee you that you're going to be pleasantly surprised with the results that the task force is going to bring to the city with compassion and care. But how can anyone agree that trashing tents, IDs, medications, unique items like family photos, and even the urn containing the ashes of a woman's mother equates to compassion and care? These actions were perpetrated by green shirts, backed by MPD officers, and I've seen such violent abuse by green shirts who are funded by the Homeless Trust going on for years. It's past time that this unit be independently investigated. The encampment ban is but an extension of this brutality. Neither shelters nor jails can be the mandatory alternative to living on the street. Supportive housing is the only solution. With the passage of this measure, we'd only regress to darker times and complete a vicious circle to nowhere. I urge you to vote no. And to Mayor Suarez, who's going to see this, please veto this ordinance if it's passed today.
Thank you for your comments.
Chair, if I get the speaker's name.
Your name, sir? I apologize. I didn't hear it.
Sorry, Jeff Weinberger from the October 22nd Alliance to End Homelessness.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Brian. I would just like to say that I'm opposing SR2. I don't expect for the city commission to show compassion, as I've seen how the city reacts to individual and community-led structures that show compassion to our houseless neighbors. The commission brings up the rights of those living in high-rises in downtown, while they disregard the rights of those living on the street below them. I don't think that it is right or moral to put the rights of those who can afford to pay their own rent and pay exuberant prices in downtown to have their rights put above those who cannot afford to pay rent. I think the rights of our houseless neighbors should be respected, and I urge the commission to reinstate the full agreement of the Pottinger Commission that was revoked last year, or a couple years ago. I've seen how the city reacts to large group feedings of our houseless communities with violence and police-backed task force. I think that the sweeps that the city conducts on a weekly basis are inhumane, and they do not serve to solve or eradicate any of the misery that is seen by those living on the street. I oppose SR2, and I hope that you all can think about the policies that are in place.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, ma'am.
Good morning. My name is Miriam Ura.
A little closer to the microphone, please.
My name is Miriam Ura, and I'm here representing Alabama Community Action, Inc., located at 2257 Northwest North River Drive in Miami. I'm here to speak about the CDBG funding recommendations, and I like to first commend you all for the hard work that you put on this type of services for the needy people of the city of Miami. My agency provides homebound and congregate meals, among other services, to the elderly, needy people in the Alapata and Miami area. I'd like to thank our commissioner, Alex Diaz de la Portilla, for the hard work that he put through all this difficult time during the pandemic, and providing food and water and going through buildings mostly every week. So I thank you again, and I ask you for your support. I thank you for your past support throughout the years to our agency, to our community. And I ask you to please take that into consideration and continue funding our agency so we can continue providing these much needed services. Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you, Chair. And I want to thank you, Miriam. Miriam, I want to thank you for the good work you've been doing for decades and the great legacy that your husband left for that center to help so many people in need in Alapata. So thank you for the countless hours over decades that you and your husband have committed to this community. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
No, you got to pull that mic out. Someone bent it. There you go.
Good morning. Can you hear me?
Yes.
I'm opposing SR2. My
Your name,
is
please?
Cedrica Jacques. I reside at 2050 Northwest 66th Street, Miami, Florida 33147. And to be honest with you, I know exactly how it feels to be homeless because I was. I know exactly how it feels for someone not to have what they need and they on the streets. And that bad part about it is that I'm a disabled woman. If I don't tell you, you would not know it. And the crazy part about it is that my medicine was took from me. It's a lot of things that done had happen in this community that does not happen. I mean, it's not supposed to be happening. Like the peoples that's homeless right now, they was working peoples. Those people that's homeless right now, they had good jobs. They had all that they needed, and now they don't have anything. And now we, the people, y'all putting them out on the streets. And the crazy part about it is that we don't work for y'all. Y'all work for us. That's the whole thing about it. And y'all need to get on y'all job. Like the words say, get your house in order. Y'all need to get y'all house in order.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Hi, my name's Robert Derez. I live at 200 Southeast 15th Road, 33129 in Commissioner Russell's district. And I want to thank everybody here, what your concerns are. For the last couple of years, I supply the Needle Clinic with toothbrushes as a donation, and I carry cases of triple antibiotic cream and hydrochlorozone, and that's my newest thing of giving it to the homeless, either out my window or I stop and hand it to them. But that's not what I'm here for, and I hope you listen to what I'm addressing. And this I've been addressing numerous times here and on editorials and personal letters and coming to groundbreakings when you had your shovel in your hand, and since 2015, and I was going to read one of the letters to the commissioners that I wrote in 2017, but I'm going to generalize it here so it's a little clearer. And this has a lot to do with what's on the ballot also, not for the mayor, but the item on, the public item on Virginia Key Marina. And it had to do with the previous RFPs, you know, and this is the point of it. And it's public property, you know, our public property. And the giving away of it just takes the click of a vote of you gentlemen without even having to go to the public, because whoever these people are, since the beginning of the RFPs, they included 27 acres, which they have in the ballot this coming couple weeks. 27 acres when the developers were talking about the old Marine Stadium area and the marina. That included all the way across the Marine Basin, the stadium basin, from the intercoastal pretty much to the boundary of the stadium itself. It gave 10 acres in the RFP. In fact, when I came up here and started talking about this, the developers stopped showing the picture of the boundaries. They discontinued that because they didn't want them to know it. And I'm sure they don't want me talking about this today.
Thank you.
So when they got rid of the 300 slips, you know, they finally, in the RFP, it was to the, you know, 100 feet from the shoreline. But did they change the acreage from 27 acres to 17 acres? They did not. And this is what's happening with the vote, too, to the public.
The time's up, sir.
Okay, that's it. And what this does, just with the vote of the commissioners, after this passes, you can change it and give away the whole half a basin.
Sir,
without the public.
is there an item on this agenda you're speaking to?
It has to.
Got it. Thank you. Thanks for your comments.
Thank you for it.
Good morning, commissioners, chairmen, controllers, so on and so on. My name is Brian Jackson. I am the leader and founder of HLM-MD, Homeless Lives Matter Miami-Dade. I have been through state to state. I have been through city to city, county to county. And Miami, by far, is the most horrendous, barbaristic, Naziist, fascist place I have ever laid eyes on or had the opportunity to live. False arrests are made every day. How is it that you could stop somebody from giving food out of the generosity of their heart? You used to have public toilets and hand washing stations, portable showers throughout the pandemic. The pandemic is still on. You can easily clean up the homelessness simply by providing more space. The city has funded properties that they do nothing with. They sell it to the highest bidder for high rises. Why is it that simple people such as myself, who are now low income from being 8 years homeless, suffering from throwing up blood in the streets from Crohn's to type 2 diabetes, deaf people, blind people, they're all in the streets. How is it that you can sit back and allow this literal Nazism to continue? It is a farce. I have come from New York, and I can speak quite fast, so I can make 2 minutes run like the next day. Okay? So believe me when I tell you, I've lived it. It is not fair for you to dehumanize a whole group of people just because you prefer to take checks in your pockets. I speak the truth as I stand here. You could have me arrested, you could detain me, you could do whatever you please, but it's not going to stop me from fighting back. What we are living as homeless out here and low poverty income families is called the Les Miserables syndrome. Maybe you've heard of Les Mis, where the people stood up against its own government to fight for better things, to fight for freedoms. You cannot take away from people knowing what you have and sit there and be happy with yourselves. Because if I were on that board or in one of your chairs, this world would be different in the city of Miami.
Thank
You need to provide, not take away.
Thank you for your comments.
Whoa.
Over 10,000.
Give me,
Commissioner Crowe, you recognize.
give me 1 second. So it's great to get a New Yorker come down to Miami and tell us how we need to do things and how Miami should be run. But last time I looked at New York, it wasn't paradise at all. But I'm sorry to the gentleman that I didn't come here today with my I love Che Guevara pin, and that I don't have the Go Marx sign put up here. And this is the whole problem. You know, we have poverty throughout the whole city of Miami. We're sadly a city, there's 2 cities in one. Those that are well-to-do, that live mostly by the water's edge. And then the rest of the city, whether it's in Liberty City, Overtown, Little Haiti, Little Havana, Wynwood, Alapata, Flagami, it's a different city. I can tell you that a lot of the people in my district, in Little Havana, they're paying outrageous rent prices, so they could be living in broken down places full of roaches and rats that are owned by, in many cases, many outstanding fine slumlords from New York. Now, no one's going to tell me that thousands of our residents that live in these conditions, that are getting exploded every day, with their rents being increased constantly, living in those conditions, have to stand back and let so-called homeless, that in many cases, and in most cases here in Miami, want to be homeless, that they are the ones that have a right to get ahead of the line and get a brand new apartment, and not them. It's not the way it works. In fact, let me go further. I heard the fine attorney mention that what we needed to do was put the so-called homeless into homes. She said, put them into housing. Well, she said that we need to protect and help those residents. I'd like to propose to all you fine people that are here today, and of course I know that, as the lady said, this is not organized. And I think we all know better than that here, unless we all want to pretend that a lie is not a lie. This was organized today, just like the emails that we all got, that the majority were same type of emails. Sadly, the homeless issue has become a business here, and particularly in Miami. You see the people that are not organizing, that are the ones that are leading the charge, making the calls, just like the little rally outside before this commission meeting got started. That was not organized either. That just happened by chance. But homelessness has become, sadly, a business so that some of the leadership that's here today that didn't organize anything can get a nice paycheck and make a living. And yes, if they get a haul of 500, the monies for 500 new units, that's going to be millions of dollars that someone's going to be running. So I propose the following today, since we're all bad people up here and we don't care. I mean, the city of Miami has spent tens and tens of millions throughout the years in trying to be humane with the homeless population. This year alone, it's over $7 million that we're spending outright, not including all the service that we provide from our different departments. So I make a proposal. I mean, I made notes here that the attorney said, put them into homes. Well, I'd like to create a new program today for all of you here that I'm sure many of you are going to jump right up and stand in line and be the first to help. And that's the Adopt a Homeless program, where each of you can adopt a homeless and bring them to your home so that you could be humane in helping them to the next step. Now, how many of you, raise your hands, want to adopt a homeless? Okay, all right, well, good, good. So, Mr. Clerk, make a list of all the people here that want to adopt a homeless, that are willing to get someone up the streets so that they could bring him to their home and they could give him all the care, the love, the humane treatment that they want. Now, those that, excuse me, I didn't mean to get anybody upset. I didn't mean to get anybody upset, but let me go to the next one. Mr. Chair,
Commissioner, we got to get out by noon. We got 30 minutes to run this agenda.
They didn't like that one. Can you shut the people that don't want to allow me to speak up, please? Now, I understand that some of you maybe don't have room in your homes. You don't have the space, and that's understandable. So maybe then in your front yard, you could get a tent, those that have front yards, and have a homeless be adopted there. Or you could put him in the sidewalk in front of your building where you live.
Commissioner, let's move on.
Well. This is wonderful. You come here. All right. You come here demanding rights, but then when we say something to you that you don't like, then my God, we don't have rights. You want anarchy then, right? Just like you have in the streets now. Because the bottom line is, look, this city has been as humane, if not more, than any city in America. And we're not talking about making homelessness a crime. We're talking about laws that have to be followed, that people cannot block sidewalks, that others have rights to, just like that wonderful city that you all have talked about, Los Angeles.
All right, that's enough. Commissioner, let's all bring this back. Commissioner.
Yeah.
Commissioner, please.
Listen.
Please.
The vast majority of you don't even live in the city of Miami.
Commissioner. All right, everybody, please. Commissioner, through the chair, please. Because when you address the audience responds.
I certainly got the hornet's nest going.
And I figured that was the intention.
No, the intention was that I'm sick of this hypocrisy. They want to do so much.
No, Commissioner.
There you go.
Everybody, please be quiet. All right.
Chairman,
let me help.
get them all out of here if they're
No,
screaming.
let me help.
Get them out of here if they're screaming.
Let me help out here. Please. Let me help here. Let me help here, please, because we need to move on, and I want you all to be heard. You all know where I am on this issue. I'm in the minority on this issue. But I'm not up here calling names of my fellow commissioners, because that's not how I'm going to get anything done. I will just continue to be a 1-4 losing vote, a potted plant up here getting nothing done. Instead, we need solutions that work together. These commissioners aren't here to punish and hurt anyone. They're trying to solve a problem out of frustration. Please hear me out. They're not out with a vendetta on the homeless. As you can hear, they're trying to solve a problem for those with homes. I believe, and I know you believe, that if we solve the homeless situation, it solves the problem for all of us. I do believe and we are out of capacity. Listen, please, because you're going to lose your opportunity to speak. The commission didn't need to allow me to allow public comment at all for a deferred item, but they did, and I appreciate that. But we need to be civil. We cannot be calling names, Nazis, communists, different things up here right now. Civil solutions. I'm going to be proposing the creation of 500 new supportive permanent housing units because I believe that will open up the pipeline from shelter. We don't need more shelter. We need more housing to get folks out of shelter, and that will bring people off the streets. But that's not an overnight solution. But I need their support to work on that. These are not our enemies. These are not my enemies. These are our elected commissioners. So I would like us all to respect each other and these chambers as we work toward positive solutions. So please, everyone has 2 minutes tight. Positive solutions. Say your comments. You don't have to be supportive, but let's not be rude. And we will get through this together. All right? Now, we have Commissioner Carollo, you said you had to leave at some point.
I do. I have to leave, and I stated that from the beginning
Yes.
at noontime. And Mr. Clerk, you let them know when they could come to your office and line up so they could put their names and addresses, all those that want to adopt the homeless.
Stop, please. Please, no outbursts in the dais. We will clear the chambers. Is there anyone here to speak on items not SR2? Because that item is deferred, and it's not being taken up at this meeting. I want to make sure those who are speaking on items at this meeting get their chance so that we can get to those items on this meeting. If you're here to speak on an item not SR2, please come to the front so that we can address those items that are on this agenda today. I don't want to disrespect anyone who's come here today to speak to us, but we must prioritize the items that are on this agenda. Are you here to speak on SR2? Please.
But let me just say for you, hold on, before you move forward though, let me say this, Mr. Chair. I guess as we continue to try to work towards a solution, because I think a lot of times folks have misinformation. I just heard you say you're on the losing end of a 4-1 vote. I don't know if there's been a vote, one. You say you're going to...
Just on first reading.
Well, but because we wanted to have it be heard. And then I heard you say that you're going to propose something. So I think what I've said earlier, the reason we asked for deferral was because someone in the community that deals with homeless, and I've probably dealt with it as long as many, right, wanted to bring forward some solutions. And so I think from that perspective, we have now agreed to look at it and wait to see what solutions that might exist that works for everybody involved. So I just wanted to make sure that's also clear, because someone will walk away saying we're all a bunch of heathens, when in fact we're still trying to talk through the issue, as we always do. Things liked or not liked, sometimes it's an opportunity to hear something when you move it on first reading. So
I appreciate that, and that is my goal, to get more, so it's not a 4-1. I would like a 5-0 in the other direction, but we need good positive solutions to get us there. You recognize, sir?
So my name is Luis Garcia, and I'm representing Brickell on the River North Tower, right next to Riverside, which you will all well know. And I'm here to support FR5, which is adding more tools to the noise ordinance and code enforcement to control the noise, right? This is a good start, but I'm not sure why with the tools that we have today, the city cannot enforce places like Riverside to comply with their TUP and the law. Riverside is a business that consistently violates the noise ordinance, having multiple citations, and most recently, one issue last weekend when the decibel measurements were same as a concert, as the inspectors acknowledge. I urge you, honorable commissioners, to take the actions needed to revoke their license because this place is clearly not interested to respect the community as live as part of it. So that's why we're here, and I really hope that we take this issue seriously. We have been 1 year almost talking about this, and nothing happened, right? This place just keeps getting citations and citations and citations, and there is nothing that had happened besides that. You know, for a place like that, $500 is nothing in with a citation, right? So thank you for the FR5, but we need a little bit more. We need clear directions right now, at least to know what is the next step when a place like that keep this way to work, right? Violating.
Thank you.
Yeah, but my answer is not, my question was not answered, sorry.
It's just not a question and answer session. We're here to listen to you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning, Mr. Cruz.
Good morning, Commissioners. Elvis Cruz, 631 Northeast 57th Street. I'm going to speak on 3 items. The first is the item PZ3, which has to do with your waterfront standards. I'm asking for a couple amendments to that I hope you'll consider. First of all, I want to point out that it's currently requiring a 15-foot wide paved walkway along the bayfront. And that sort of one-size-fits-all mandate would harm the public enjoyment in some areas, specifically in some of our waterfront parks. Example, the picture, Morningside Park. It has a 6-foot wide walkway. It's been there since 1953. It's plenty wide. By reference, the sidewalk in front of your homes is only 5 feet wide. So this is 6 feet wide. You can see I've measured it. It's 6 feet wide. But if that were to be increased with pavement to 15 feet wide, the image shows we'd lose an enormous amount of square footage, very valuable square footage of green space right along our waterfronts. I've never heard anybody, and I've been in the neighborhood since '77, I've never heard anybody say that that walkway is too narrow. So please amend that standard to allow for 6-foot wide walkways in our parks. The other item is that, here you go. Here's the 15-foot wide drawing in your ordinance, and you can see that a couple walking doesn't need
30 seconds, Elvis.
Doesn't need all of that space. Next, the seawalls. You're requiring seawalls to be a maximum of 24 inches wide, but most seawalls are 36 inches wide, and 36 is much better for the public's recreation. It's also safer. People sometimes walk on seawalls, and a wider seawall is safer. And more importantly, for one of your goals in your seawall ordinance, you're proposing that seawalls be extendable. And the wider seawall would be, from an engineering standpoint, stronger and allow you to do that more easily.
Thank you for your comments.
Yeah, lastly, regarding PH9, the idea that the people would not be allowed to vote, wow, that's anti-democratic. That's a big mistake. That's the sort of thing that happens in the island to the south. Please, don't take away the people's ability to vote.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.
This,
PH9.
I was trying not to bring attention to it, Commissioner Carollo, but this is now the third speaker that's likening putting in a speed hump to communism.
No, it's not the
appropriate.
speed humps. It's voting. Voting on whether the people will want to have speed humps. You're doing away with a process that's been in place for decades where the neighborhood votes on whether or not, because let's face it, those are beneficial, but they're also a nuisance. And the people should be allowed to vote. And so to take away their right to vote, that's not right.
We may just simply disagree on this. And when it takes me more than 6 years to put in traffic calming that can save lives, Some things are about popularity and what everybody wants, and some things about what are needed to save lives. And the vote happens at the election. And if I can't get a speed hump or a traffic circle or a stop sign or a speed limit sign put in over a 6-year period, the vote is failed when I was put into office. So I am not going to ballot every single person on an entire street to see whether one speed hump should be put in. We have a mechanism which allows this forum right here for every member of that street or public to come and protest that speed hump, but the balloting process is not working. Commissioner Reyes has done it in his district.
Yes.
There were no dissent, and there are lives going to be saved by traffic calming devices. So I just simply disagree with that process.
May I interject? Please stop comparing, and this is the same thing that somebody that is going to be, we're going to discuss later on, used, that we're acting like communist Cuba. It seems to me that none of you know what a communist system is, although you are all, most of you, some of you are advocating for socialism and things like that. You know, let's go back to the homeless issue. There are no homeless in Cuba. They're all in encampment. They are in a concentration camp, you see? And when you start comparing it, educate yourself what that system really is, you see? Because there's some people here that they say that they talk about communism and they want to equate anything that we do in order to make their argument stronger. You are aligned. I mean, you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know what you're talking about. To start with, you cannot express yourself like you express in here if we were acting like in Cuba, okay? You cannot. There is no dissent.
Please do not respond.
So what I'm saying is, I mean, use the right good examples, but don't bring it like that, because there's too much suffering, too many people have died, and too many people in jail. Okay? And we don't have that here. I mean, I'm just bring that because it hurts that just like this is just like Cuba. No.
Thank you, Commissioner. Okay. Next speaker, please.
Yes, good morning, Commissioners. My name is Abigail Ape. I'm a resident of District 2 at 200 Biscayne Boulevard. I'm here in support of FR 5 to increase penalties and prosecutions to violators. We are requesting the same considerations and amendments for it to apply to Brickell. Establishments continually break the code, and while code compliance has been issuing tickets, residents do not feel heard. Thank you. This past weekend, the establishment Riverside SLS and the concert at the Miami Marlins stadiums affected thousands of residents. And while some violations were issued to SLS and Riverside, the music was not turned down, and the residents continued not being able to speak. Commissioner Russell, earlier today, you were concerned with Goya Beach, and we request the same consideration for the residents of Brickell all along our area. To all the commissioners, please add more teeth to the city code. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Before you go, Madam City Attorney, I'd like to place an item in the next City Commission agenda having to do with these places that she's mentioned. They deserve our city code enforcement, our city government, to enforce the laws there. And this is what I've been talking about since I got here, that nightclubs, liquor establishments, they own this city. There are two laws, one for them and one for the rest of us. And this is a problem that's across all of our districts. You, ma'am, and the residents there deserve to have peace and tranquility so you could sleep at night, so you could have a quality of life. And I am sorry, and this was brought much more to my attention yesterday. I am sorry that all of you are not getting the proper response from the City of Miami government. I don't know what's going on there, but I want to air it in public, and I want our city administration to come down on those people if they are violating our laws like I'm hearing and like you're expressing here to us.
There's plenty of videos, so thank you for
Thank you.
Invite the owners of those establishments too, so that they don't say that they've been targeted.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Sarah Harold, Bills and Sunberg, 1450 Brickell Avenue, 23rd floor. I'm here as pro bono counsel for Casa Valentina, item number 8 on your agenda. I just encourage you as a former foster parent for 14 years, this is an opportunity to try to prevent homelessness. Casa Valentina was a community-based effort to provide housing and assistance and supportive services for children aging out of foster care. This is an opportunity for them to increase the number of units that they've got with the city's help, which is a real opportunity to not just prevent homelessness, but give these kids an opportunity to actualize their potential. There are a very large number of people in the homeless population that were formerly foster care children, and Casa Valentina is the program in town that helps these students and children. And so this is a big community-wide effort, and with the City of Miami's help, we'll be able to change the course of these children's lives. Thank you.
Commissioner Reyes, you're recognized.
Madam City Attorney.
Hold on a
Just a moment. Commissioner Reyes was recognized.
Yeah, excuse me. I agree with you. I visited your facilities, and I was quite impressed with the residents there, and quite impressed with the job you're doing and the facilities that how they are kept. And I think that you deserve all help that we can give.
Well, thank you. And I'm joined with 2 others that will speak. Thank you very much for your support. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Madam City Attorney, could you put for us an ordinance for next meeting also? Unless, I think an ordinance would be the appropriate and best way of doing it, but you might decide a resolution would be sufficient. That just like the Department of Children and Family have a program to put kids in foster homes, that we establish a program in the city of Miami to adopt a homeless, where we would provide a stipend amount that will be decided by this commission, whether it be $500 a month or might be more, to help those that want to adopt a homeless and bring them into their home so they could have some additional dollars to feed them and for additional electricity and water that they might use. And I'm hoping that from so many fine people that were here advocating for the homeless in the city of Miami, that we will have many of them that will be willing to adopt a homeless and bring them into their home.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Good morning, Commissioners. Thank you for your time. My name is Eduardo Martinez, and I'm a resident of Brickell. I'm come here to talk to 2 items. I believe FR5, which is the noise. I can give you personal experience of where I live 2 blocks away from SLS. And in the weekends, SLS is basically running their pool area as a nightclub. This goes on from 12 o'clock in the afternoon to almost 7 o'clock at night every single weekend. The long weekends, it runs Friday and Saturday and Thursday. I have called the city. I don't know honestly if they've given them citations or not, but it's unbearable for all the residents to live within. I mean, the sound carries up, so it reverberates all throughout the building. So this is something that we really need to look at, because it is destroying the way of, the quality of life that we have in Brickell. The second item is the repeal of the scooters. As a personal experience, living in Brickell, this has become a major issue. It's basically a nuisance. I have seen scooters thrown around the sides of the streets, not parked where they're supposed to park. I have seen handicaps navigating the sidewalks because the scooters are in their way. At the end of the day, the scooter program becomes litter. It litters our streets. The people who use that, I believe that the initial thinking of this was for people to transport themselves to work or something like that. This is not what's happening now. It's become joyrides. They cut in front of you, they go into the sidewalks, they go in full speed, they go into the streets. This is something that the city really has to look at because it's destroying that again, the way of life and the quality of life in Brickell. And the third issue that I wanted to talk about, because everybody's talking about the homeless, I welcome my tax dollars to be used to help the homeless. But the situation in Brickell, as far as the homeless are concerned, is dire.
Thank you.
It is dire. Time's up?
Yes, thank you, though.
Thank you.
Message received.
Thank you very much.
Good morning. I think it's still morning.
It is.
Yes, thank you. By a few more minutes. My name is Marianne Lucas, and I am on the board of directors of Casa Valentina, and I support PH 8. And I thank you for your support as well, Commissioner Reyes and Commissioner Russell on this, and all the other commissioners who do. 2 minutes is not enough to tell you everything that we do, because we do so much. But just, we've been in existence since 2006. We purchased some properties in the city on Mundy Street. We have served over 200 youth in our in-house residential programs and over 1,000 in our outreach programs in schools and communities. We strive to redirect youth from poverty and homelessness to a life of fulfillment and self-sufficiency. We provide them not only with affordable housing, but with education assistance, with employment skills, job placement help, financial literacy, and various other life skills. This is a very important program, and we look for your support so that we are able to expand that program to help serve more of the community in Miami. And this is our opportunity to create this as a model for other communities. So I thank you for your support, and let's pass it. Thank you.
Thank you for your comments. Good morning.
Hi, guys. My name is June Savage. I'm going to speak a little bit rapid because I'm going to speak on both issues. So let's start with the noise in Brickell. I'm a real estate agent for 18 years. I'm with One Sotheby's. And I will tell you that if Miami Beach passes the 2 a.m. ban, those people are going to get in their cars and their Ubers and they're going to come over to the city of Miami. So you need to either raise the bar on the fees of the noise at these places and hit them where it counts with the dollar, or you will have problems going forward. Dan Gelber's been trying to pass this every time he gets reelected or reappointed. And this time it really might just pass because Miami Beach is out of control. Regarding the homeless, we have an angel in the room, Constance Collins, who I have worked with before with the Lotus House Women's Shelter, who now there is a Lotus House Man's Shelter. So I'm here to tell you that the people that are buying the new homes here, their taxes are going to be incredibly high compared to the people that sold who've been holding on for many years. You guys are going to have more money from the taxes from those sales. I would like to see some of that go into a program to increase her Lotus House Women's Shelter and Men's Shelter because it works. I've taken people out of Section 8. I've also worked with Hardiman, and I spoke to him about the 8 little children that are there in Wynwood listening to the noise all night long. If the developers want a piece of Miami, there needs to be a homeless impact fee on the property purchase that they are getting.
Thank you, Ms. Savage.
I don't know if my 2 minutes are up.
Well, we're not addressing the homeless issue right now.
Okay.
We've tabled SR2 completely. It's
and
deferred
I
for
also
another meeting.
sent you something to contact me about the water because I'd rather see Marine Patrol giving tickets out there on the little islands, how they're trashing our city, as opposed to somebody who needs food or something else because they're homeless.
Thank you.
Thank you, Constance. We love you.
Thank you. Is there anyone here to speak on remaining items on the agenda other than SR2 at this point? You are.
Yes, I am. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Good morning. Thank you for this opportunity, and I'm here to speak on behalf of Casa Valentina. My name is Janice Graham, and I'm the executive director. Casa Valentina is everything that you've heard from Marianne and Sarah earlier. What I'd like to share is just a quick story. David came to Casa Valentina lost. David had nowhere to go. David was misguided. He had no one to wrap their arms around him. Casa Valentina did exactly that. With our Life Skills program, David was able to graduate from Miami-Dade and his dream was to become a nurse. He was having difficulty in some of the very basic classes. Casa Valentina paid for tutoring, mentoring, and whatever he needed. David graduated. As a family does, we were at his graduation. We hugged him. We told him how proud of him we were. David said to me, Mrs. Graham, thank you. Thank you for everything that you do for us at Casa Valentina. We couldn't do it without you. David got into nursing school. We helped him to pass his boards. David passed his boards, and now David is working in the ER at North Shore Medical Hospital as a nurse. That's what we do at Casa Valentina. One other real quick piece that I want to share. I'm proud to say that last week I was able to offer a position as program coordinator at Casa Valentina to one of our former youth. That is what we do at Casa Valentina. We need your support. We need your help. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else here to speak on any of the remaining items on the agenda? So what I'm going to do is close public comment for right now. I'm going to take up these items. If there's time before we break, I will reopen public comment for SR2. So that those who have come and been here today, but that is the public comment for that item, which will come back next month or later in the month. Thank you. So I'm closing public comment on the regular agenda at this point. Commissioners, if I could get a motion for the remainder of the CA, PH, and RE agenda, please. That is CAs 1 through 11. Moved by Commissioner Reyes.
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Carollo. Is there any further discussion?
Just a friendly reminder that PH2 is to be amended.
Do you need an amendment read into the record, or
No,
it's just
sir.
a substitution?
Just recorded as amended.
Thank you. All in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you very much.
And PH2, there was a substitution that we dealt with as well.
Yes, we have that. Thank
Thank
you. Could you please read the ordinances into the record, SR1, SR3, and then why not FR1?
Hold on.
Sorry.
Can we
Yeah.
go with the SRs first?
Okay.
I won't.
Yes, Madam
okay,
City
so
Attorney. SR1 and 3, if you could read into the record, please.
SR1 and 3.
Yes.
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission naming the assemblage of land consisting of approximately 3 to 5 acres located at 1680 Northwest 5th Street, 1610 Northwest 6th Street, 1651 Northwest 5th Street, 1649 Northwest 5th Street, and 1641 Northwest 5th Street, Miami, Florida, as Ruben Darío Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Parks and Recreation in General, by creating Section 38-29, titled Naming of Ruben Darío Park, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the naming of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. And SR3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 54, Article 5, Section 54-190 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Streets and Sidewalks, Base Building Lines, Non-Standard Widths, by modifying the width of Southwest 23rd Avenue from Southwest 17th Alley to Southwest 18th Street, Miami, Florida, and Southwest 17th Terrace from Southwest 22nd Avenue to Southwest 23rd Avenue, renumbering certain subsections containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Before we get a motion on that, I was just made aware that there was an amendment needed on PH 8 in the language of the item for Casa Valentina, that it needs to be listed as a forgivable loan rather than the type of grant it is. Do you need everything reconsidered, or if the mover and seconder is amenable to that amendment, can we add that in?
You can just reconsider PH 8.
Can I get a motion to reconsider PH 8, please?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by the chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Is there a motion on PH 8, please?
Move.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by Commissioner Carollo. We have an amendment to add the language forgivable loan. Is that
That's right.
amenable to the mover and seconder?
Can we put the amount in the record, please?
Yes. It is, the item is up to $2 million, I believe, for the purchase of land for affordable housing for former foster youth. Thank you. All in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes as amended. Congratulations.
Okay.
SR1 and SR3, is there a motion?
Just for,
SR1.
how many units is that supposed to?
The goal there, it's pending zoning as well, but the goal there is over 60 units of affordable housing.
Move SR1 and SR3.
There's been a motion for SR1 and SR3. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Commissioner Watson. Any further discussion? All in favor of the item say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion passes on SR1 and SR3. Is there a motion on FR1, FR4, and FR5?
Move.
I need to read those into the
I know.
record. Okay.
Moved by Commissioner Carrillo, seconded by Commissioner Reyes. Please read into the record, Madam City Attorney. FR1, 4, and 5.
FR1, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 54 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended titled Streets and Sidewalks, specifically by amending Article 1 titled In General to allow advertisements on news racks, and by amending Article 7 titled News Racks on Public Rights of Way to allow electronic news racks and establish requirements for electronic news racks, containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date. Then FR4, Chair.
Yes, please, and 5.
FR4, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission naming the parcel of land consisting of approximately 8,219 square feet of land located at 1 Southwest South River Drive, Miami, Florida, as Simon Bolivar Park, amending Chapter 38, Article 1 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended titled Parks and Recreation in General by creating Section 38-30 of the City Code titled Naming of Simon Bolivar Park, further directing the city manager to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate the naming of the park, containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date. FR5, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission by a 4/5 affirmative vote, amending Chapter 36, Sections 36-4 and 36-5 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended, titled Operation of Radios, Phonographs, or Other Sound-Making Devices, Bands, Orchestras, and Musicians Generally, Exemption, and same hours of operation of jukeboxes, radios, etc., exemption for events on city-owned property, relaxation, to provide for increased penalties and prosecution options for the Wynwood NRD 1 noise pilot program containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
Thank you. There's been a motion. There's been a second. Is there any further discussion on FR1, 4, and 5? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion
Aye.
passes on FR1, 4, and 5. I'd like to move to
And
the...
Mr. Clerk, you noted that FR5 was by a 4/5, correct? Thank you.
It was unanimous. Before we address FR3, I'd like to finish the PZ agenda, please. We have PZs 3 and 4. The others have been deferred. Is there a motion on PZs 3 and 4?
Hold on for a second, if I may, please.
Yep.
Mr. Chair?
Would you like to take them separately?
Well,
Yes, because I'm not voting for PC4. As I stated before, I don't want to tie the hands of the city, and I don't think that is an ordinance, there's a need for an ordinance that prohibits gambling in the city of Miami. Every time that any of those, I'm against gambling. I'm going to make sure that I don't agree with it, but I don't want to tie the hands of the city of Miami. I don't want anybody to direct us to do whatever we have to do, and that's it.
Understood. We'll take them separately. Oh, Commissioner Carrillo, I almost had you before noon. It's 12:01 now. We got 2 items left.
I have to go. I
Okay,
really
understood.
do. And on one of these items, I think we should have a full commission.
So
before
is
we
there a
vote on
motion
it.
to continue or?
Motion to continue.
We did the
PC4.
Yes. Sorry.
Motion to continue PC4, so everybody be here when the.
Motion to continue PZ4 to the next meeting.
That's right.
Is there a second by Commissioner Carrillo, I assume?
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? PZ4 is continued.
Chairman, you said to the next meeting, but we don't have that provision anymore, so what date actually?
The next meeting.
The next meeting.
The next
Thank
meeting.
Continuance is the next meeting. PZ3. Is there a motion on PZ3?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by the chair.
Mr. Chair?
Yes.
We need to make one amendment. We want to change the word water body in 311A to body of water.
Okay.
We'll do that for the next meeting.
Does the mover and seconder agree?
Does the order of the factors?
It must mean something.
The question, just is
El
that
orden de
the-
los factores no
Just a moment, Commissioner
no,
Watson.
I guess I'm trying to, is that the question of moving 6 feet to 15 feet?
No.
I didn't hear the question, sir.
No, the water setbacks, is that different than?
No, it's actually a clarification of, we passed Appendix B at the last couple of meetings. This is to clarify in Miami 21, referring to Appendix B. It does not change the distance of any of the setbacks.
I guess we keep nitpicking without the total review. And so the question I have is, when is this review supposed, I thought it was supposed to come back in October, this review of 21 in its entirety?
Miami 21 Task Force?
Yes.
That comes at the next meeting. This is a cleanup of the language since we passed Appendix B. We just noticed that we wanted to clarify in Miami 21 referring to Appendix B. This is just a reference, it's not a change.
You good? We have a motion, we have a second on PZ3.
Body of water, right?
Can we read into the record, please?
PZ3, an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended more specifically to amend Article 3, Section 3.3.3 Waterfront Standards, Section 3.1 Waterfront Standards, Article 5, Section 5.5 Urban Center Transit Zones, and Section 5.6 Urban Core Transit Zones, to grant flexibility regarding waterfront building setback requirements in conjunction with recent amendments to Appendix B Waterfront Design Guidelines, making findings containing a severability clause and providing for an effective date.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes on PZ3.
You
Boards
got me,
and committees,
Todd.
please. We have one board and committee, and then we're going to look to continue FR3 as well.
Thank you, Chair.
Todd,
BC.
I'm sorry, you got me on that last one, right?
You were a yes vote?
Yeah.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. BC 18, Off-Street Parking Board. The Off-Street Parking Board has nominated Jamie Reyes to be confirmed by the City Commission.
Yami.
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by the chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Is there a motion to continue FR3?
Move it.
Moved by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by the chair. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. That is our regular agenda. I'd like to reopen public
Chair,
comment. Yes.
I'm sorry.
What did I forget?
For FR3, so we're continuing it to November or to the next meeting in October?
October.
October, so we're going to defer it to October 28th.
Should we just eliminate the continuance language in our
No.
practice?
The continuance would be fine too. That would just be to the meeting in November.
Thank you. I'd like to reopen public comment on SR2. If there's anyone here who hasn't been able to speak on SR2 before we break and adjourn, actually. This is the time to do it at this point. If anybody, I'm sorry, I can't hear you, sir. Okay, okay. But if you're here, you're very welcome.
Hi, my name is Katrina Seraldo. I'm a primary care doctor and an addiction specialist. And I am speaking in opposition to the anti-camping ordinance. I know our discussion is that we're going to be talking about solutions. And I have a letter that's been signed by 86 healthcare workers and medical students to say that,
I apologize.
yeah, we oppose this. Criminalizing homelessness is effectively what this ordinance does. So when you vote on it next time, you should vote no or withdraw and replace it with a solution. Unfortunately, it's also a racist act to criminalize homelessness in Miami, where disproportionately Black people, they represent 57% of the county's homeless population, despite making up only 18% of the population. So giving opportunities for them to be arrested will only worsen the problems of racism that we have in our society and police violence. So I thank you guys for being open to discussing solutions. And I think as an addiction doctor, and I've taken care of a lot of homeless patients, and getting to hear their stories, there's a lot that is not always obvious to a stranger, and that people don't have an obligation to share with us as just humans. They have privacy, and so just respecting that people have a lot of trauma, and using, even if you have addiction and you're living on the street, like, everybody needs to have opportunities to be engaged with social services and not the police. So I hope that this ordinance can be voted against or withdrawn.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I'll close public comment. There was a pocket item. I apologize, Commissioner Watson, that you had proposed D5. Is there a motion on D5?
So move.
Seconded by the chair. Is there any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Fastest city commission meeting in history.
You know, you're
I'm working on it.
You're getting better, you know.
I'm trying, but I'd like to thank you. I'd like to thank my fellow commissioners and the public. I know these things are very important to you, but recognize the wins today. The item you care about was deferred. Another item, providing new housing for the potentially homeless, was approved. $2 million for new land acquisition for affordable housing from the American Rescue Plan funds. This was a good morning. Thank you all for your advocacy.
Chair, can you not adjourn for 30 seconds? Because there's just a question we need to ask Caesar. Just 30 seconds.
Is it legal?
It's a legal question.
Okay.
You got me on the pocket. I thought I had it. We hope that the rest of the day goes just as smoothly. We hope that the rest of the day goes just as smoothly.
I got it.
You're on the record.
We're good.
And we're adjourned. Thank you. See you at 3 o'clock for the hearing, special hearing.